Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to a Thursday edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Jason Lloyd and Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam the Bull. It's the final show of the week with the 4th of July tomorrow. We've got Mike, Anthony, and Steve on the other side of the glass, and a lot to get to today, Mike. So let's jump right into it.
Let's do it. Yeah, we got a lot that I want to hit on.
Along the way, but go ahead.
Including some breaking news this morning we'll get to after a quick word from FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. We already know you're following the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game with your friends while they're getting sunburnt at the beach. If you're new to FanDuel, well, we have a new offer for you right now. New customers can bet just $5 and get to $150 in bonus bets if their first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today and visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. This morning, the Guardians and Major League Baseball announced that Luis Ortiz is under investigation. The Guardians put out a statement reading, quote, "The Guardians have been notified by Major League Baseball that Luis Ortiz has been placed on leave per an agreement with the Players Association due to an ongoing league investigation. The Guardians are not permitted to comment further at this time and will respect the league's confidential investigative process."
Guys, the Guardians were already going down the drain, right? They've lost 6 in a row. They're at a season low, worst 4 games under 500. Mike just read the statement there. Luis Ortiz was supposed to pitch tonight in the final game of the series against the Cubs at Wrigley. So now you lose one of your, 4 top starters to a team that's already playing horrendous baseball. I don't know if this is the final straw. We'll get into that later. We'll talk more about the team. But specifically on this incident, obviously we don't know what for sure it's about. But we do know it's not drugs, Jason, because if it were drugs, they would say it. Whenever a player is suspended for drug use, it's immediately announced that he's suspended for drug use with a specific amount of games. And that's not what happened here. Yeah. So it's got to be something else. What are you thinking?
First of all, I don't like the way MLB is handling this. If you have enough to pull him, you have enough to say why.
It'll come out today probably.
Because what you've done now is you have people thinking the worst about Luis Ortiz. And, I mean, my mind immediately went to it's either gambling or assault allegations of some kind.
Can't think of what else it could be. But.
So now you're questioning, everybody's going to question his character now. And if it is one and not the other, if it's not assault, everyone's thinking it's assault. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And if it has nothing to do with that, it was just gambling. I tend to think it's gambling based on the statement because of the mention of the Players Association.
Right.
So this has been collectively bargained. Whatever he did is in violation of the collective bargaining agreement.
Right. Which is not the case with domestic violence.
Well,
I don't think.
I know the gambling piece is in there. I don't know what the CBA says about any sort of assault allegations. But right there, when it says per an agreement with the Players Association, that tells me it's in violation of the CBA. So obviously you're going to think it's gambling. I think that's everyone's mind is probably going to go to first, or some sort of assault allegation. And a season from hell is only getting worse for the Guardians. It's been a horrible couple of weeks, and the timing on this obviously is terrible.
Zach, our buddy Zach Meisel, what is wrong with me?
Who's coming on in 25 minutes.
My brain, did you ever have this where your brain is just names or words that you've said a million times?
And it can't get to it. It happens to me all the time.
It
happens to me all the time.
It was like Zach's name didn't make any sense to me there for a second. It was so weird. That happens to me every once in a while. It freaks me out. But anyway, Zach just put an update, a little bit of an update here. Guardians pitcher Luis Ortiz has been placed on non-disciplinary paid leave through the All-Star break because of an MLB investigation. He was supposed to start tonight. Joey Cantillo will start instead. So there's a little bit of an update there. Tyvis, what do you make of this situation?
Well, to me, this was a pitcher that was. He had his moments. He wasn't doing that great. Nobody on this team is doing that great. It just adds to the rest of this dumpster fire that this season has been. If it is gambling, it's sad. That's a shame because now you got the Malik Beasley in the NBA. Now you got him in the MLB. I'm sure in the NFL we're gonna have somebody, and it just shows you where this world is going, and it's crazy that you would think that athletes make so much money that they wouldn't have to participate in gambling, but I guess I don't know. You got to figure out what crowd you're hanging with. I don't know if you're trying to help friends out or if you just got roped up in the wrong things, but it's not something that I would throw my career away over. That's the part that gets me every time I see it is that. Like, you literally are – because, it's not like you get suspended. They, ban you for stuff like this.
Yeah, it depends. Now, it depends what happened. I mean, again, we're speculating.
That's it. That's what I said.
It's a bad job by MLB.
And we're talking gambling.
It's terrible.
I would never, you spend your entire life trying to get to the big leagues in any sport.
Right.
And you throw the whole thing away for,
I mean, it's possible that he can be suspended for life. If it's drugs. Not drugs.
If it's gambling, yeah.
If it's gambling. It depends on what the infraction is, what he exactly did. But last year, there were 4 or 5 guys suspended for gambling. A few of them were suspended for a year. One of them, I think, was suspended for half a year. And one guy was suspended for life. So I don't know what his infraction is.
Maybe it's not, though.
Well,
because if it was, wouldn't they, cut the pay right there? He's on paid leave.
Did it say he's on paid leave?
It's non-punishment leave.
Non-disciplinary paid leave.
So,
all right, I don't know what that means. So maybe it's not gambling.
Well, they're still investigating, is what it means. But again, if you have enough information to pull them, then you have enough information to say why.
Right.
Because otherwise, it sends people down a bad road.
Right.
And it adds undue scrutiny to Luis Ortiz.
Yeah. All right, we'll get back into this. Zach Meisel is going to join us at 11:30, Mike. That's correct?
11:30, correct. And then Scott Bentley of the Locked On Tigers podcast is going to join us at 12:30 to help us preview this upcoming weekend series against Detroit, because tomorrow night's game against the Detroit Tigers is on WKYC. So make sure you guys tune in to WKYC tomorrow night because it is a Guardians-Tigers 7 p.m. first pitch, and all the coverage is on WKYC.
By the way, they're playing bad enough. They got to play the Tigers this weekend. Since that 3-game, remember they won. They played. Remember they were starting to play poorly about a month ago, whatever it was, and they were playing at a 4-game series with the Tigers, and they won the first 3 games of that series.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And since then, I believe they're I want to say 11-22 or 11-20, something like that. Since they won the first 3 games of that series, they've been absolutely terrible.
Side note from this, with tomorrow being the 4th, it's a big day.
Yeah.
Is Joey Chestnut in the hot dog eating
contest?
Back. He is.
He is back. Joey Chestnut is back this year, which is not the same without him. All right, so we'll get back to the Guardians. Right now, let's talk some football.
Yeah, so we have discussed ad nauseum the Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco quarterback conundrum that the Browns are currently facing. And we've talked at length who we think will start X amount of games. How many will Shedeur start? How many will Dylan start? So I asked you guys on Monday, this is good producing on my end, what you guys thought was the most games any of the rookie quarterbacks, either Shedeur or Dylan, could play this season for the Cleveland Browns. You guys all gave me different answers, so I took the average, which came down to 6. 6 games.
Right.
So what I did was I took a plethora of quarterbacks over the last 2 decades, give or so.
Real big words here.
Smorgasbord in the pre-show meeting, plethora here, and took the stats from the first 6 games.
We had a pre-show meeting?
That they started in their NFL careers. So I wanted to see, is it fair to make an evaluation and determination on whether or not a quarterback could be your guy or could not be your guy,
all right,
based off just 6 starts. So
I think we already know the answer to that, but this is a fun
I made blind resumes,
I
will show you the first 6.
I hope you got Peyton Manning on there.
Maybe, maybe not.
Okay.
So I'll show you their first stats from their first 6 starts, and you guys got to tell me yeah, I would commit to that guy long term, or I need more information. Okay?
Okay.
There's a bunch of these.
We know the answer to these.
There's a bunch of them.
All right.
We'll run through some, and then we'll discuss, and
All
then
right.
we'll run through some more. So we'll run through a couple of these quick.
Yeah.
Steve, let's see the first blind resume here. Would you guys commit long-term to a quarterback that in his first 6 starts went 2-4, completed 58.3% of his passes, threw for just shy of 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns to 6 picks with a quarterback rating of 78.9?
I'm ignoring the records.
I'm not looking at the
records.
record
Are
either.
meaningless. Let's see. You said 6 games.
When you say commit long term, what do you mean?
that's. I don't know when. By the way, it depends on the era, right? Because years ago, 58% is not terrible.
These are
now
all
it's
within the last 20 years.
Okay.
One maybe a little further.
I mean,
but all
I think there's enough that I'd want to see more. I wouldn't give up on a guy with those numbers.
Are
after
you
6 games.
so? Let me get this right. Are you asking us? Will we take this quarterback, or will we use the first round pick next year on a quarterback? Is that what's
basically? Yeah, that's a good way to put
Okay.
it, Tyvis. If this was the resume for Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel, would you feel confident entering 2026 with that guy and these numbers as the
Confident? No. How could you?
I wouldn't be confident.
No.
This is because I need to see what it looked like. Like, all right, he's 58%.
Hey, listen, Mike set up this game.
Is
Let's go
it
with it.
drops? It's a lot of things that go into this.
Here's the thing. To me, the biggest factor, or one of the big factors on whether the Browns will take a quarterback in the first round next year, has more to do with who's available than how these guys played.
Or would they
most likely, because most likely neither one of them will have the time to do enough that would make us certain to stick with them. Most likely.
And I think
so. Then it depends on, did they play well enough? The guy we could take is not that special.
I think what this whole exercise is going to show us is 6 games isn't a big enough sample
size
to
it's
make
not,
any
yes.
kind of real
So
determination.
to answer your question,
yes or no?
To play your game, I would stick with him. Yep.
I think the best thing to do, Mike, in my opinion, sorry to change your game, is say stick, want to see more, or move on.
Okay, perfect.
Well, every
like
one
that.
of them is want to see more.
Well, but whatever. I mean,
so then you can't juxtapose it against taking a first quarterback with the first round pick.
Yeah.
Because sure, I look at those numbers and say I want to see more.
Right.
But if there's a quarterback at the top of the next draft that, oh man,
that's really good. You broke your glass.
I did. Gosh dang.
Take out the want to see more. It's either yes or no.
All right. No, I'm not sticking with this guy. No.
I'd stick with him.
Jason? He's dealing with his glasses. All right, let's see who this quarterback is, Steve. This quarterback is...
I was thinking.
Baker Mayfield. Baker's first 6 starts in Cleveland. All right, next one.
And again, that's a good one, because with Baker, it depends who the quarterback is. Right? Because
you talking about in the draft?
To me, there is a line of quarterbacks where I think I can win a championship with this quarterback. And in my opinion, he's below the line. Just below the line. I think he's near the top below the line. Like, maybe if everything was perfect around him, maybe.
That's my good idea.
But anyway, there you go.
That's how you
All right, next one. Steve, let's see the next blind resume. This next quarterback also went 2-4, completed 62.3% of his passes, threw for 1,449 yards, 10 touchdowns to 7 picks, and a quarterback rating of 84.4.
I mean, that's
much better.
Similar. It's
better.
Not that much different than the other one, but a little better.
A little better.
I probably would stick with this guy.
Stick for Bull, stick for Tyvis. Jason.
You're telling me I have to pick that or take a quarterback in the first round?
Yeah,
that's the question.
It's a rough exercise.
It's the question.
My answer is probably going to be take a quarterback in the first round.
And it's probably the right call.
For everyone, because 6 games isn't enough. But go ahead. I'm going to say take a quarterback in the first round.
So Jason's not sticking. Bull and Tyvis are sticking. This quarterback was Daniel Jones.
Oh, I made the right decision.
Nice call. I should have known it was going to be because Baker was first, I should have known it was going to be a bum quarterback after that.
All right, next up, Steve. Next blind resume. First 6 games of this quarterback's career, he went 1-5. 53.8% completion percentage, 1,364 yards, 6 touchdowns, 14 interceptions.
There's no way you could be confident.
I'm sticking with him because that's Josh Allen.
It is not Josh Allen. Josh Allen's on this list.
You know who I think it is? I think I know who it is. I think it's Jared Goff.
Jared Goff's also on this list. It is not Jared Goff.
Is it Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning.
It is Peyton Manning.
It is Peyton Manning.
So, yeah.
I knew it was going to be like some stud.
All right, next up then, next blind resume. This quarterback went 2-4.
But by the way, Peyton Manning's numbers were terrible, obviously.
Were terrible, turned out to be good.
Yeah.
This quarterback
That's
did win
terrible,
2 games.
These numbers are hideous.
Went sub 50, 5 touchdowns, 4 picks, 78.4% quarterback rating.
All right, I'm not sticking with this.
I'm not sticking with him either.
Obviously.
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
3 no sticks.
I mean,
Well,
under
sometimes
50%.
the first 6 games are a good representation of the quarterback because this quarterback was Johnny Football.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe it was even that. He threw more touchdowns than interceptions.
I agree. I thought those numbers would be worse than that.
I mean, the percentage is hideous.
Horrendous.
But he was that first game against the Bengals. That was as bad as I've ever seen a quarterback play.
Can I introduce you to Dorian Thompson-Robinson?
No, he wasn't that bad. I mean, come on.
DTR in his career has 1 touchdown, 10 picks.
All right,
That's a shame.
Mike, did you watch that game when Johnny Manziel played his first game? What was worse, Johnny Manziel?
That was so long ago
that was the worst.
The only thing I remember about Manziel is throwing the ball over his head backwards.
I remember that. I do remember that.
The Bengals went in that game. They wanted to humiliate him. I remember that. Like they were and they weren't that. I don't know. He was the worst ever.
All right, next
Total
up,
bum.
blind resume here. This next quarterback did not win a game in his first 6 starts.
That's Jared Goff.
Josh Allen.
Jared Goff.
You guys are both incorrect.
Josh Allen didn't throw that many more interceptions than picks at his start.
We'll get to Josh Allen. He is on this list.
This is absolutely horrendous.
Is that Troy Aikman?
It is not. These are all more recent than Troy Aikman.
All right.
This is horrendous.
I mean, obviously you wouldn't stick with that.
So you guys wouldn't stick with
And
that.
it's a good player, I'm
Because
sure.
you didn't stick with that, you would have missed out on 2 Super Bowl rings. Because this is Eli Manning.
Wow, I would
Who
not
was
have guessed
god
that.
awful.
I would
And
not
is
have guessed that.
maybe the most overrated quarterback in the history of the sport.
I agree.
Shut your mouth. All right, next up. What would you guys
Very
do with
good
this next
quarterback, not a Hall
quarterback?
of
Good
Famer.
numbers. He went 2-4 through 65.5%
Oh, yeah. Those are
good
completion
numbers.
percentage.
No
1,600
chance this
yards.
guy's any good.
Not at all, but I'm definitely sticking
I mean,
with
you'd
it.
stick with it with those numbers, but there's no chance he's a good player.
Is that
Jared Goff.
No, Jared Goff got off to a bad start.
Did he? Oh, yeah, he was with the Rams. They weren't
Yeah.
good that year. I remember
He
that.
stunk
That
early
was the
that
year
season.
Sherm
So
had
this
knocked
quarterback
him out the
did
game.
get off to a very good statistical start.
Yeah.
He had maybe the greatest debut in the history of the NFL.
What?
Where he threw 5 touchdowns, no picks, and had a legitimately perfect quarterback rating.
Robert Griffin III.
He played he played a different quarterback, not Robert Griffin III. This quarterback is, Steve, Marcus Mariota.
wow?
Oh my God! Well, he was a top pick. I mean,
He was
started
the
us off.
second pick.
He was okay his first couple of years.
He went to Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he beat Jameis Winston in his first game, and he
That's
had
right.
5 touchdowns and
Yeah.
a 158.3 quarterback
It's pretty much
rating.
all downhill from there.
Yeah,
Next up,
peaked early.
Yeah.
in our blind resume game, this quarterback went 1-5. 58.5% passing, 1,847
Now that's
yards.
Jared Allen. That's Josh Allen.
It's not Josh Allen.
Ah!
I swear to you,
Is it
Josh
Jared
Allen
Goff?
is on this list. This was Josh Allen a little before Josh Allen.
The yardage is actually good, but probably because they were
Josh
back behind.
Freeman.
No. This quarterback actually in his first 2 games set the I'm not sure if it still stands.
This
but
is
at
actually
the
fun
time,
just trying to guess who the guys
Yeah.
are. Right?
He set
We've
the
totally
passing
destroyed
yards
Mike's
record
Yes,
for
yes.
a rookie quarterback in his first 2 games. For
Yeah.
a guy who coming out of college was not known for throwing the football.
Justin Herbert?
Tim Tebow.
Number 1 overall pick.
What?
Wasn't known for throwing the football, and he was a number 1 overall pick.
Steve, show him who it is.
Kyler Murray?
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton.
Cam Fig Newton.
All right, we keep it going. Next up, Steve, blind resume. This quarterback did go 4-2.
That looked
10
good.
touchdowns to just 4 picks, a 91.4 quarterback rating, 63.2% completion percentage.
That's pretty good. That's really good. You
1,273
stick
yards.
with that.
That's just, no, I'm just playing. No, I definitely would ride with that one.
That's
Was this a first round pick?
This guy actually was not a first-round pick.
oh
Jalen Hurts.
That's what I was thinking.
Russell Wilson.
Dak?
This is
Dakota Prescott.
the GOAT. Thomas James.
Yeah.
All right, next up. We're just going to keep rolling. I got a bunch
Yeah.
of these. This quarterback went 3-3, 53.8% completion percentage, 918 yards,
terrible.
3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 66.1%.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking Arch Manning in the first round.
Yeah.
So that means, Tyvis, you would take Arch Manning
Oh,
over.
wait. Let's guess. Josh Allen!
It is Josh
Yeah! By the way, I got a clue because
hilarious.
Mike started to say that's because you would take Arch Manning. Oh, the way you said that, I knew it had to be somebody good.
We'll keep it rolling.
Thank God we got him
Keep it
on.
rolling. To just show that 6 games is not enough to evaluate any quarterback.
100%,
I think it gives the end goal of this is what I was trying to get to.
Yes.
This next quarterback, 2-4, completed 71% of his
pretty good.
passes.
That's really
almost
good.
1,500 yards, 7 touchdowns, 6 picks, a quarterback rating just shy of 90.
Joe Burrow.
No, it's not Burrow.
Oh.
Justin Herbert.
Nope.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Would this be good enough for you to stick?
Yes.
I know we're guessing. Tyvis, you would stick with this?
Yeah, I don't like the touchdowns to interceptions ratio, but everything else is solid.
I'd like to see more, but I'd probably take another quarterback.
Yeah, I'm taking another quarterback.
Taking a quarterback would be right if you followed this guy's career because this guy is Mac Jones.
Oh, boy. Wow.
At first, I thought it was Trevor Lawrence, and I was like, yeah,
You know what,
another
though?
quarterback too.
When he came out of college, he was very accurate. He kept that up in the league.
I mean, his rookie year was great. We kept saying,
They went to the-
my God, Bill did it again.
Yeah, they went to the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And
Think so,
They
yeah.
smoked the Browns.
I don't know. I don't
Smoked
think he
No.
was great. He was okay.
Was that
Yes.
You talking about the year?
When Miles said that we didn't make any adjustments defensively.
No, I thought that was Bailey Zappi.
Wasn't that Bailey Zappi?
No, it was a game up in Foxborough. Bailey Zappi beat him here. Go
Yeah.
back, double check me on that. I'm almost positive.
I
it
mean,
was
the
Oh,
Browns
you
have
know
been smoked
what?
by a lot of teams.
You might be right because I was in the hospital that day. My
It
daughter
was 45-7. You're right.
Yeah, my daughter had
Mac Jones,
got
3
sick.
touchdowns, no picks.
There you go. That was his
I
rookie
watched
year,
that game.
think.
I watched that game in the hospital.
Zappi beat them here. Up there, Max smoked him.
How many yards did Mac Jones throw for?
In that game,
Yeah.
198.
That's it?
That's it.
Yep, 3 touchdowns.
That's probably the only game in his career he threw 3 touchdowns, no picks.
You know they're the good run
Nope,
games.
they beat Jacksonville 50-10 later that season. He had 3 touchdowns, no picks.
Look at that. Twice.
All right, next up,
Yeah.
Bill did it again.
Steve. This quarterback went 0-6.
I don't even know where he is now.
52% completion percentage, 965 yards, 3 touchdowns to 11 picks, and a sub-50.
Golly.
Jared Goff.
It's not Jared Goff.
Where are you, Jared Goff?
need to let him go.
I know he got off to a bad start.
He's on this list.
Joe
Jared Goff.
Burrow.
It's not Burrow.
No, Burrow was not that. No way.
Who could be that horrendous? This a first round pick?
Second round pick.
It's got to be somebody good here.
Second round pick.
Second round pick.
Bull says it's got to be someone good. I wouldn't have put him on here if he was that bad, would I?
No, you would. I mean, you put some in the last.
Oh, no, I did, because Deshaun Kaiser.
Ah,
Just show it. Deshaun
God.
Kaiser sucked after 6
Oh,
games.
God, he was the worst.
And sucked for his career. So sometimes the 6 games is enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is.
Not that he was ever going to be good, but in fairness to Deshaun Kaiser, he had no business
chance.
playing that year. And they just put him out there. They had nobody else to play. I don't even remember. Who
All right,
else did
next
they
up.
have?
Cody Kessler, Kevin Hogan. I was
This
there.
next quarterback was a number 1 overall pick. Number 1 overall, Bull. In his first 6 starts, 2-4, 59.1%.
Jared Goff.
That's
1,471 yards, 9 touchdowns, 7 picks, 85.7
No.
quarterback rating.
Jared Goff.
No.
You said
Joe
he was-
Burrow. It's Joe Burrow.
It's not Burrow.
Kyler Murray.
Oh, yeah, Burrow wouldn't have had 7 interceptions.
Kyler Murray.
Not Kyler.
First overall
First
pick.
overall pick, huh?
Could it be Jared Goff?
Carson Wentz.
He wasn't the
He wasn't
first.
the first
number
overall.
one.
He was the
Oh, he
second
wasn't number
overall
1.
pick.
Jared Goff was.
That's right.
Is it Jared Goff?
Yes.
No.
No, it's not Jared. No, he wasn't. He didn't throw 9 touchdowns his first 6 games, I don't think.
Number 1 overall.
Sam Bradford. Was he number
Nope.
1 overall?
Yes, he was.
Give you a hint, he's
Jamarcus.
played for the Browns.
This dude?
RG3.
No, he was number 2 overall pick.
Oh, yeah.
Steve, let's show him.
Tim Couch.
It's Jameis.
Oh,
Famous Jameis. All right, we got a couple. We're gonna do 2 more.
we should've
We'll
known
do 2 more, and then I want to have the discussion. Next blind resume, Steve. This quarterback went 0-6, 53.5% passing, 969 yards, 5 tutties.
Jared Goff.
It is Jared Goff. You got it, bro. There you go. There you
I
go.
told you his numbers sucked.
He's sick.
Finally got there.
Last one we're going to do here. Last one. This quarterback threw for 4.
Oh.
There you see the stats. 1 of 5, 3 touchdowns, 5 picks, sub 65 quarterback
awful.
rating.
Bernie Kosar.
No.
Tim Couch.
Nah, he didn't go back that far.
He said 20. Well,
Tim Couch was
he was more than
rookie
20.
26 years ago.
Let me ask this question. Do you think this quarterback turned out to be any good?
Yes. Yep. That's why you put it on there. Yep.
Steve, show him who it is. Did this quarterback turn out to be any good? No, he didn't.
Dang.
All right, we do have one last one. I promise.
Oh, is that Brady? I didn't even know who that was. Is that Brady?
Brady Quinn.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, last one. 2 and 4, lots of yards. This guy's a little older, the oldest of the group. Not super old, but the oldest of the group. So think of the era. It's era pre the wide open passing.
So older than Manning and Brady.
Yes.
But not as old as Aikman.
But not as old as Aikman. Yeah. Knowing that and taking these numbers into consideration.
Steve McNair.
It's not Steve McNair. This guy was a second-round pick.
Second round
quarterback.
Older than Brady.
Older than Brady, you say?
Yeah.
But not as old as Aikman.
So this was more than 20 years ago that this guy was.
I said this is the oldest guy, yeah.
Yeah. So
older than Brady, but not Aikman. So we talking 90s, right?
Yeah. Second round pick.
See, Steve Young.
He was drafted
Joe Montana
in 91.
91.
Oh, I wasn't even alive.
Oh my God! Why do you do that? You say things like that, and it gives me 7 strokes.
I was in college.
3-time MVP.
I had already dropped out of college.
3-time MVP, 91. Man, I knew every pick.
Kurt Warner. No, he wasn't drafted.
Early 91.
Steve, show him.
Favre.
All right, so now that you've seen the blind resumes and the results of about 20 different quarterbacks.
He was ripping off people even back then.
Would it be fair, and life isn't fair, I totally understand that,
Yeah.
to make an evaluation on Shedeur or Dylan if they get 6 or fewer starts?
No,
of course not.
Yes. I'd have to see.
You can't have a complete evaluation on that. But the
you
bottom
can
line
see
is, this is going to come down to where the Browns are in the draft next year, how high they could get to.
Well, they're not picking in the top 5, so.
Well, they probably are picking in the top 5.
Statement.
You can live in La La Land all you want there, Tyvis. The odds are they're picking in the top 5. And this is really not about Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel will probably not be able to play enough to be considered a short thing going into next year. Is that fair to say?
Depending on how many games they got.
I know that, but I'm saying my hypothesis is they're probably not going to play enough where we know for sure they're the answer.
I'll give you that, yes.
So if that's the case, it's going to come down to what quarterback can I get? Is it a quarterback that feels like, oh, this guy's clearly the next franchise quarterback? If that's the case, then they're going to take him. If it's not, then maybe you stick with the guys you have and draft,
I just feel like
a wide receiver or whatever.
I feel like this. Then I feel like this year's just a waste.
Well, it's
a transition year.
Will you stop with
You
that?
just said it.
Tyvis,
I'm agreeing with you.
I don't want to believe that.
Okay.
There's no way that they've already done it once.
And they're about to do it again.
I just don't understand what's the point of wasting time.
But what was their other option?
Oh, now you're on my side.
What do you
You've
mean?
been screaming at me for months that this was the wrong call.
What specifically?
Tanking and waiting till next year to get a quarterback, and that's a
You
bad
said what
plan.
was the other option? I don't know. Draft one in the first round this year.
I would
take
play
Jackson Dart.
I would play the young quarterbacks, and maybe I can avoid drafting quarterback, and then I have 2 high picks to get good players around them. That's why I would play. If either one of them were close, like we're ready to go, I would 100% start one of them week 1.
I agree.
But
I don't think it's going to be the case.
In the end, the other option, the Browns were not going to be good this year, most likely, no matter what they did, because They suck at quarterback as of now.
So if let's say that they would have drafted Cam Ward, would your thoughts have changed on this season?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
They had the second pick in a one quarterback draft.
You got to be kidding me.
What? If they had Cam Ward,
wait, hold on, wait a minute.
If they had Cam Ward, they would have their quarterback of the future.
So let me get this right. If they would have took Cam Ward,
yeah,
you'd be more higher on this season.
Oh, on this season?
Yes.
No. My outlook on this season would be completely different from what it is because they've already got their franchise quarterback in place.
All right.
But I don't think they're necessarily.
Now, I was about to jump over this chair.
No.
Like, you got to be kidding me.
No, I don't think that Cam Ward raises their win total to your delusional level of 8 and 9 and whatever like that.
No. They have the roster for that already. He would have took them to the playoffs.
My outlook on this season would have changed because they would already have their franchise quarterback in place. They do not. Right. So this season is all about biding time and waiting to have the opportunity to go get a franchise quarterback.
All right.
I don't like it. That's just the reality.
Let's switch
It just sounds like tanking to me. That's what it sounds like.
That's because it is.
Let's switch from one awful Cleveland team to a Cleveland team that's usually not awful but is awful right now. That's coming up in a second.
Yeah, but we're going to get Zach Meisel on here after you tell us a little bit about Menu RX.
So, Menu RX is awesome. I talked with my buddy, Dr. Jake May from Menu RX. What was yesterday? Wednesday? Yes. So, I spoke to him yesterday. At Menu RX, they test your metabolism. And what is metabolism? That's how you digest your food. And everybody's body digests different foods differently. So if you're looking to lose weight, as I am, if you're looking to just get in better shape, or say you're in good shape but you want to just get stronger or more cut, whatever it might be, the guys at Menu RX, the ladies at Menu RX, will work with you one-on-one, actual scientists, doctors who study this nutrition for a living and know that one size doesn't fit all like the big box stores try to do. Menu RX, they create a plan and create a food plan with you that works for your specific body and needs. It's that simple. So go to menu-rx.com today. If you sign up for any of their plans, you'll get a 1-year membership to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show absolutely free. That's a $60 value for all our extra content for free by signing up. And at Menu RX, they most health insurance plans here in the state of Ohio, at least, will work with you. So you may have to pay nothing out of pocket. So go to menu-rx.com today.
And with that, let's bring in Zach Meisel, who's joining us from Chicago. What's up, Zach?
Meisel. It's not Meisel. It's Zach Meisel.
It's a running joke now, boy.
Oh, now it's a running joke? I didn't
pick up
realize
on
that.
it. Come
Sorry.
on, man.
That's bad.
Bad job out of you, Bo. What's up, Zach?
I've never corrected people on that because I always thought it sounded more professional or like I was French, maybe.
Yeah. Oui, Zach Meisel.
So
Zach
you travel
Meisel.
with podcast equipment now? Look at you.
Well, only the best for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, we do our show every Monday, and we've been killing the Browns lately, deservedly so, Zach and I. And
you and Zach have been killing the Browns on the Ultimate Guardian show?
I'm sorry, the Guardian.
You can't even let it go.
I can't even let the Browns go here. But, Zach, let's start with the Luis Ortiz news. What can you tell us at this point about his situation, if anything? Oh, boy.
I'll let you guys speculate on what you think might be going on.
I mean, it sounds like gambling. I don't know what else it could be, but I guess it could be something else.
Okay. We'll all find out soon enough.
Zach, tell him that if it was gambling, he wouldn't be on paid leave.
He's not going to say that. All right, let me...
I'm trying to get him to say something.
There's the statement. If you had to bet right now, gambling, will he play the rest of this year? What would your bet be?
Can't
answer that?
No, that's interesting way to ask that. Interesting choice of words. Look, he's definitely out through the All-Star break. I think. Yeah. How often do you see someone placed on leave like this, and then it's after, what will it be, 2 weeks? It's hard for me to envision the league just saying, "Oh, we discovered that he's an upstanding citizen and everything's great, and we want to triple his salary and shave 2 runs off his ERA." Like I don't.
Yeah.
There's nothing good about this. It's definitely ominous.
No, obviously this is in combination with a losing streak, longest in the league right now, of 6 after last night's loss. They try to avoid the sweep at Wrigley Field tonight, 8:05 again. And so Joey Cantillo is going to make the start. He's coming up?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mess. This is like the season from hell. I don't know. It's a lot of it is self-inflicted. And Bull, we talked about this so much.
Yep.
Crushing ownership. The front office has made a lot of missteps in recent years that kind of led to this point. You can blame it on their lack of developing good hitters. They've also just had lousy luck, whether it's Bazana missing a key year of development here, Chase DeLauder missing the first couple months with an injury, Juan Brito missing the first couple months with an injury. It just seems like what could go wrong has gone wrong. And I don't know, maybe it's the baseball gods just saying, well, you didn't want to capitalize on reaching the ALCS and try to build off that. So we don't appreciate you taking that for granted. And so here you go. Here's a season that will just haunt you forever.
Zach, how do they fix it? Like, all right, let's fast forward to the end of the season. What can they do to put out a better product for next year? What would you do if you were in charge of the Guardians? What moves would you make to ensure that this season doesn't happen again next season?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key is not. I mean, I really think. Look, I think ownership has a rosy outlook on things a lot of times, and I'm not saying that Paul Dolan just saw them reach the ALCS and said, "Oh, well, let's just run it back and everything will be great." I don't know that they're that naive, but you certainly learn your lesson, I would hope, right? Like, you have to be aggressive and go make necessary moves and not just assume a lot of things are going to go right again. And so it's crazy that on July 3rd, they're 40-44, but it really feels like they're much worse than that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's just because the American League is so crowded. Maybe it's because I just have no faith that they can score runs consistently. And now, the one thing you could maybe say, well, maybe they could go on a run if the rotation keeps trending in the right direction. And there were signs of that, but Tanner Bybee's not been consistent enough. Gavin Williams has been better, but still not quite like elite by any means. And now Luis Ortiz is gone. So I think the quicker you shift your mindset, at least from the front office, to say, hey, this is a lost season. Like, let's move Carlos Santana so we open up a spot for DeLauder or Kafis, because those guys need to be up here. And look, it's July 3rd, and you don't have to wait till August 1st to get them up here. You have a full month where they can develop in the big leagues.
They both had big games again yesterday, Zach.
Yeah, it's every day. DeLauder hasn't had a game at AAA where he hasn't reached base.
It's ridiculous.
And so, it stinks that, like, in early July we're talking this way, but I think it's one of those years where you just have to hope that by the end of the season, like you said, Tyvis, like, you want to feel good about some of the young pieces you have in place. Now, again, like, I can't say a sentence like that without saying what a shame and what a failure that is, given where Jose Ramirez is in his career, or given where Stephen Kwan is 2 years away from being a free agent. So the timeline is not in their favor in terms of lining things up here. But I think all you can do is just hope that you see some really good things from DeLauder and Kafis and Manzardo and Brito. And that doesn't mean that you just guarantee all those guys spots next year and trot them out there and hope it works. Like, you still have to be aggressive and calculated this winter, but you need to salvage something, because the first 3 months of the season, what are the bright spots? Like, who's performed well? What can you hang your hat on? There's like nothing.
Nope.
Zach, you mentioned DeLauder and Brito. You missed a very important name.
Oh, God.
His name is
If you say Gabriel Arias, I'm hanging up.
No.
It's worse.
John Kinsey Noel.
Jeez.
Big Christmas. Don't you? It's starting to look like snow outside. You see that?
Christmas is canceled, dude.
If you just so happen to look outside, you almost can see the snowdrops coming down.
Hey, Mike, I know you're listening back there.
Yeah.
Please make sure Tyvis is not on the panel on July 25th, Christmas in July.
Oh, my
Done.
God. Yeah.
I can do that. Zach, I do have a question for you real quick. You wrote an article, I believe it was last week. It was really good about kind of the death of guards ball and how that was their identity last year. It was something that they have kind of tied their mantra to. They put it on the Jumbotron before the game. Do you think this is a temporary, maybe year removed from that style of baseball, or do you think the organization just has to completely shift gears and kind of retire guards ball and move into a new modern-day era of offensive baseball?
Yeah, I mean, you hear them talk about that, and you hear, like, Stephen Vogt has said countless times over the last couple of weeks, like, oh, we just didn't play like ourselves tonight. We need to get back to ourselves. But I don't see that. I think you are who you are at this point, and I don't see signs of the team that played small ball, made a ton of contact, ran the bases with reckless abandon, went first to third, things like that. And more than anything, played clean defensively. Like, this team has been so sloppy, and they have no margin for error. So when you're kicking the ball around, like, you're going to lose games. So I think the guards ball, like, narrative or label, like, that doesn't apply to this team. And every team year to year is going to be different. I mean, I think back to its genesis in 2022, that team, it was all like small dudes who just slapped the ball all over the place and ran fast. Like, you don't have that now. Like, John Kenzie Noel can't play small ball like that. So
can't play big ball either.
I think you just have to adapt and find an identity that suits you. But the problem with this team is I haven't seen an identity yet. I mean, they've just been so inconsistent or consistently ineffective, and it's just again, like, I keep coming back to, like, I don't know what their calling card is. I don't know, like, the strength of the 2025 team or their formula to win. I have no idea what that is 3 months in. Like, I think it's the starting rotation or it's the starting pitching, but even when they went 4-2 in San Francisco and Sacramento a couple weeks ago, they didn't score more than 4 runs in any of those games. So, even when they're getting good starting pitching, like it's got to be really good just to squeak out some wins.
So what do you do with Shane Bieber?
Trade him. Get him back before August 1st and trade him.
I mean, he'd be
a huge trade chip if he gets back.
He could be the biggest name on the trade market, the way the market's
he and Clase could be the 2 biggest guys. Trade them both.
But I mean, do you work with him because he signed the 1+1 on where he wants to go, or do you not take that in consideration? You just have to take the best deal.
I think you can have a candid conversation with him. I'm sure that when the team was plotting out whether to sign him, what the contract would look like, this had to come up. They're envisioning every possible scenario, even one where things don't go their way in the first half and they're a seller at the deadline. And they knew, like, Bieber, the target was mid-season, so they knew that that it would be right around the trade deadline. It would be tricky to figure out, like, what's his value, what will a team give up for a guy who they haven't seen pitch? Because it's not even just the Tommy John surgery. This guy's made 4 starts in the last 24 months. Because remember, he missed a big chunk of 23 too. So while you hope you know what you're getting, you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, I actually don't think his value would be massive.
Not massive, but it would be there.
But at the same time, like, Matthew Boyd is the dream scenario there, right? Like, he made such a big difference coming back from Tommy John, and he made 8 starts in the regular season for the Guardians last year and then 3 in the playoffs, and he was magnificent. And then he parlayed that into a contract with the Cubs. So there's a lot at play here, though. It's weird with Bieber having the player option for next season. You want to do right by him. You signed him. You helped him get back on the road to recovery, and he's only ever been in your organization. And I think that matters. There's comfort there. There's a question of, like, what is Bieber? Like, I still don't envision a scenario where he opts in for next season unless he has another setback and he's just
this and then you wouldn't want him. Yeah.
So you could have the conversation with him and maybe just float his name to other teams and see what they'd be willing to give up, but it's a really tricky one, or it's probably just easier to hang on to him. But even if you do that and it's a lost season, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, if he's, to me, like, as a Cubs fan, I would love to get him. I would give up one of their best prospects to get him, because to me, I would, because I think he's a different. The Cubs bullpen has been surprisingly good. It's been one of the best in baseball. Their lineup is maybe the best in baseball, certainly one of the best in baseball. They're great defensively. They run the bases well. Outside of that inning 2 nights ago where they got 3 guys out on the bases. Their weakness is their rotation after the great Matthew Boyd there, Jason.
Oh, stop it.
He's been fantastic.
Just saying.
And Shota Imanaga. Outside of those 2 guys, their rotation stinks. So I'd trade for 2 pitchers if I'm the Cubs.
I don't think any team's giving up a top prospect for Shane because what Zach said, you haven't seen him, and
but
he's only got control for 2 more months.
But we know how good this guy is when he's healthy. So he'd have to come back. But if he comes back and makes even 1 start and looks fantastic, you could get 1 good the Cubs are going to be desperate because they might lose Tucker at the end of the year. They're going to want to win. The GM's job's on the line. The Yankees, too. They're going to be desperate also. They need a starting pitcher. So I think that if he comes back and pitches, they could take and if you're Bieber, why wouldn't you want to play for the Cubs or the Yankees? You probably would. So I think that could make a lot of sense, and I think one of those teams would give up a good prospect. We'll see.
It's going to be interesting. So he's currently, I think he's got to throw 1 more live bullpen session this week. So he could make his first rehab. Well, yeah, his first rehab start next week.
Yeah.
And then you start that 30-day clock again.
So he may not even make it back before
the
deadline.
Might. Yeah.
No, I don't think he will. I think he'll come back right after the trade deadline. So a team's going into this blind. Obviously, you'd send scouts out to Akron or Columbus or wherever he's pitching and just make sure he looks okay. But I mean, there's a lot of risk there. That's why I don't know if a team would give up a top prospect for him when the best case scenario is 9 starts, maybe 10 starts, and then the playoffs, obviously. But then you're also assuming, if he does make it back for those 10 starts, he's not opting in for next season. So it's a weird one, but it's worth. I think it's at least worth just testing the market. I think they'll probably do that with a lot of guys.
We talked about Clase. I mentioned Clase though, and you and I have talked about this. To me, they should absolutely trade Clase, and I understand you have 3 years of control still on him, but this is the one strength and the one area of this team where there's depth. Obviously, you don't want to weaken a strength, but you have no choice, I think. And they could get a lot for Clase. I don't think there's any doubt about it. There'd be 8, 9, 10 teams that'd be interested in him. So I think they're making a big mistake if they don't trade him this month. What say you?
Yeah, I don't think I'd go that far just because you could still trade him this winter. He's got 3.5 years of control.
That's
fair.
So
it really just depends on when. Look, I don't. It would be surprising if he ended up playing for the Guardians for the entirety of that 3.5 years left on his contract, just because that's how they operate, right? So then I'm thinking, okay, well, when could you get the best trade package? And there's teams that definitely need a closer, and so the question is, what are you getting in return? Are you getting 20-year-olds in A-ball? Are you getting guys on the cusp of the major leagues? Are you getting major league talent? I don't know that you can do that during the season because the team that is trading for him probably needs that major league talent, right? So it's really tricky. That's why I still would think that there's a better chance it happens over the winter. And over the winter, you might have more suitors too. But there's no reason not to listen, not to float his name out there and see what you can get, because it's always better to move a reliever too early than too late. I do think Clase I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff by any means. So I don't think you need to feel like there's this huge sense of urgency to move him. Honestly, it's a self-indictment. If you're trading him because you need to acquire hitters, well, you just admitted what we all know, right? You haven't developed hitters for years. So I think it'd be a shame that it would come to that, because it is nice having a guy in the 9th inning that you can trust year after year. But because they're in the situation they're in, absolutely something you should explore.
Zach, you just talked about hitters. I want to ask you about a good hitter, probably one of the top hitters on the Guardians, Stephen Kwan. Do you see him as a member of the Guardians past next year's trade deadline?
That's a good question, Tyvis.
Thank you.
I want to say yes. I don't. It's hard. I think This is the second straight year with him too, where like you could trace back his offensive numbers tailing off back to like when he suffered an injury. Remember, he missed a couple games or a game with he had a wrist thing that was bothering him, and he hasn't hit consistently since then. And the numbers still look good. They don't look awesome.
No.
I think he has a chance to be an all-star, but it's not the slam dunk it looked like it was going to be a month ago. So you're just always evaluating like what are your chances of signing him to an extension, and it's still tough. Like he's a union rep. He's a guy who believes in himself and believes that he's got a certain value that he would want the team to match. And the team is stubborn too, and they always set a price and they don't typically budge off of that. So I'm sure that they would talk in the spring, but then, that clock is ticking. And when you get to this point where he'll have 2 years after this one on team control, like you have to start thinking about, okay, the options are extend him, let him play out 2 years and lose him for a draft pick, or trade him. And I think the answer to your question ultimately depends on where they're at as a team. Like if they have another year next year like this year, I think the answer to your question is they trade him at the deadline next season. If they have a year like they did last year, I think you keep him, and I think you desperately try to sign him. I think there's a lot of, if you look at the timeline here, he's under team control for 26 and 27. Well, after 26, there could be a reckoning in the league. You've got the collective bargaining agreement ending. You've got questions on ownership and how the mode of operation with ownership could change in 27 and beyond. There's a lot that could change, and so there's so much unknown. It's not even just the Guardians. It's league wide. Teams are operating as if the world is going to end in a year and a half, because I think everyone's just ready for a work stoppage and just an ugly brawl and trying to make actual substantial changes for once, which they say every 5 years, and it usually doesn't pan out. So Kwan is part of this because he's a union rep, because of the timeline of his contract here. And so I think for a lot of reasons it's maybe tough to get an extension done. And so then you just have to determine like how badly do you need him versus needing more prospects for the future.
I think Kwan, and we'll wrap it up with this. Kwan's a weird guy too. He's, how we talk about like Jared Allen in basketball doesn't fit the modern era of basketball. In a way, Stephen Kwan is the same thing in baseball. Like he's more of like an 80s player. He would have fit better in that era. Like he's a good player, but nobody, like in a trade, nobody's given up a ton for him. He doesn't hit home runs. He's a great fielder, but he plays left field. Like nobody's getting worked up for a great left fielder defensively. It's like, he's a good player, but I don't even think he's an all-star, frankly, to me this year. And he's a good player, but a limited player. I mean, he's not. Let's face it, he hasn't even hit 300 yet, which he feels like a 300 hitter. And maybe in this modern day, I think the comp for him, and I've been thinking about this for a while. I was saying Andrew Benintendi for a while. I think the comp for him might be Nico Horner of the Cubs, even though they play different positions.
It's almost like he's more valuable to the Guardians than he would be to another team.
Yes.
Which is why it's, there have been very few examples of them just letting someone play out their contract and then he walks, but maybe he winds up in that category because he's so unique.
Where he's more valuable? Center field. That's where he's valuable.
That's right.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Clearly that's not going to happen. Even though it would make a ton of sense for this team, you could have DeLauder in left and Kafis in right and be done with it. But it's tough because it's a team that like they can't afford to just bail on productive hitters. This is one that fell from the sky, a guy who was not on people's prospect radar until he was about to break into the major leagues, and even those radars, the people's radars he was on, those people didn't expect him to be an all-star. So you can't afford to just move off of these guys when you've struggled so much to develop them. So it's tough. I don't know. Sky's falling. Season from hell.
I know we got to go, but I got to get this in. We were talking about this on the show the other day, and like clearly they know the secret sauce to pitching, right? Like they've had other organizations come and take their guys. Ruben Niebla went to San Diego. Matt Blake went to New York. Like they've had other organizations come in and say, we want what the Guardians do for pitching. Clearly they have not figured out hitting. Ty Van Berkeley, Chris Valleca, and now Fink, right? Like they've had 3 hitting coaches in the last 10 years, and they can't hit. Do they need? How do you overhaul your hitting philosophy, and where do you go to get that? Like, do you go to Tampa? Where do you go to find? Like they've had other teams come get Niebla and Blake from them. Where do they go? Who do they get? Because it just feels like they need to overhaul how they approach hitting, because they've had 3 hitting coaches now, and it is not working.
Yeah, you go to the Dodgers, or you go to some team like that, and you hire external. They didn't do that. Do you know that they have a vice president of hitting? Do you know that they have a senior vice president of hitting? Do you know that they have a director of hitting, a hitting coach, an assistant hitting coach, a hitting analyst, and they can't hit? Like it's unbelievable. So, they replaced Chris Valleca with an internal hire in Grant Fink, who had worked. The thought was this guy's worked with. He came from the minor leagues and he had worked with guys at all levels, and the thought was, well, we have a pretty young roster, and he's worked with Chase DeLauter before. He's worked with Kyle Manzardo. He's worked with Juan Brito. So let's get him up here, and there's familiarity there already, and you don't have to reset the learning curve. But I think it was a great opportunity, and sure, hindsight's 2020. They hired Grant Fink, and I said, okay, whatever. We only pay attention to pitching coaches and hitting coaches usually when it's not going well, right? They're like offensive linemen. And so, but it's easy to say now, you had a chance to go recalibrate and go outside the organization and find someone who could anchor your hitting operation. And they stuck with internal, and it's not working. And you just hope that this doesn't set you back for more years, because a lot of times with this, with player development, you don't know if what you're doing is working until years later, when the players get to the major leagues and they don't pan out, or they do pan out, or they fizzle before they get to the major leagues. It's a lengthy process. This isn't just a quick thing. So when Valleca left, it seemed like the perfect opportunity to go do, as you said, Jason, what teams have done to you on the pitching side for years, and find someone who can kind of just create their own thing. But they didn't do it.
All right, everybody, watch the Ultimate Cleveland Guardian show every Monday with Zach and I, either at 9 or 9:30 in the morning. Zach, have a good final day there in Chicago, and we'll see you soon.
Get you a big Christmas jersey.
Oh, my
Lord. Would you give it up already? See you guys.
Thanks, Zach.
See you, Zach. By the way, before we move on real quick, did any of you guys watch this game on ESPN last night?
I didn't turn TV on.
I told you I did.
I didn't know. Was it on locally, too? I don't know.
I live in Columbus.
So you watched it on ESPN?
Correct.
Mike, did you watch it on ESPN or no?
I caught in and out.
Okay.
I'm so disgusted I don't even watch it.
I'm sure nobody picked up on this, and you'll probably roll your eyes. But so the play-by-play guy on ESPN is Boog Shambi, who's been with ESPN a while. He does Cubs games for their station, but yesterday he was on ESPN, and I thought he was calling it fairly. He was not acting like a Cubs broadcaster, but he said something that was so wrong, and it pissed me off. In the 9th inning, all right?
I was asleep.
Okay. I guess none of you guys watched the 9th inning. So in the 9th inning, the Cubs are up 5-3. Guardians get runners at second and third with 1 out. So it's 5-3 Cubs, second and third, 1 out, and Stephen Kwan is at the plate. Stephen Kwan hits a fly ball to left field. It's caught by Ian Happ. A run scores on a sacrifice fly. It's now 5-4, runner on second, 2 outs. It's the 9th inning, mind you, and they're losing. And Boog Shambi goes, and Stephen Kwan makes it 5-4. He gets the job done. That's wrong, right? He didn't get the job done. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, he got the runner home for third, but it's still work to be done. There's still work to be done.
No.
I'm
getting the run home from third in this scenario is completely irrelevant.
You still got another guy to go. There's still work to be done.
The only if it was the 8th inning, he got the job done. Yeah. Any other inning, he got the job done. And I'm not saying this to knock Kwan. I'm just saying it's a bad job by the broadcaster because that run essentially means nothing. Because unless the runner scores from second, you lose the game. So my point is, whether it's 5-3 with runners at second and third, 2 outs, or 5-4 with a runner on second and 2 outs, is exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a good point, Bill.
It's not getting the job.
Real quick, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about like bad job out of me last night. AJ had a game.
Yeah.
Second time all year long I opened my mouth. Like I don't ever talk at these games. Like I just sit in the stands and watch.
You yelled at the ref.
That was one.
The ump, not a ref.
No, the coach. I yelled at the other coach.
Yeah, right.
That was the first time I ever opened my mouth all year. The second time was last night. AJ's on first.
Yeah.
Foul ball, first base, foul territory. He takes off for second. And out of the depths of my soul, I started screaming, "Get back!" I'm like, he's going to run him out of the inning. Yeah, there were 2 outs. And I had Game Changer in my hand, and I still thought there was 1 out.
Oh, my God.
And the coach at our dugout was like, there's 2 outs. He was doing the right thing. I was like, never mind, run! AJ came out the field. He goes, "Would you shut up?"
Nice.
Good for AJ. Honestly,
Good for him.
Good for AJ.
The other parents were cracking
up. How about it? Last night, one last thing. So last night, after I recovered from us getting knocked out of the playoffs,
highlights are on our YouTube page if you want to see it.
What's that?
Highlights are on our YouTube page.
Did you hear about the bad call?
I did.
You guys weren't here for this.
I did hear about it.
He explained to me and G. Bush Tuesday. He was like telling the story of how it went.
So pissed.
I felt so bad.
I believe that call. You know how Indians fans are feel completely certain if it wasn't for the rain delay, they would have won that game?
I believe
I
that
feel 100% that if that call hadn't been blown, we would have won the game.
Well, this is your 8th third last. So what was your last year before we get to our next topic?
What?
What a wise ass.
I didn't hear what he said.
I really want to get this LeBron topic in.
We will. We can blow off the David Fry topic.
We got a guest coming up after, though, which is what I'll make sure.
All right, relax. I was just the last thing. But last night it was really cool. I was doing the announcing for the semifinals and the majors, and actually the team we lost to, Mike, got smoked yesterday. They lost 16-4.
By the 1 seed?
No, the 1 seed also lost. My friend Joe Amschlinger, Teddy, his son Teddy, who's been my assistant coach for years, his team, he's not the head coach, but they beat the number 1 seed in a great game, 5-3.
Dynasty over.
But the second game, Rocky River Brewing Company, they got destroyed 16-4.
I knew they were overrated.
So I was announcing those 2 games. When the second game ended, we had on our other side the younger kids, the minors. It went to the last inning, and the guy who was announcing that game was like, "Would you take over and do the last inning?" Because So I went and did the last inning. So how about this for these young guys, the third kids that will start 4th and 5th grade in the fall? The score was 9. So you play 6 innings. The home team, I can't remember the names of the teams, but the home team was winning 9-8, going to the top of the 6th and final inning. The road team scores 5 runs in the top of the 6th to go up 13-9. And then and they only got out of it with only 5 runs because they got a double play on a pop-up where he stepped on second. Otherwise, it would have been worse. So now it's 13-9. The road team's winning. I think it was Joyce Buick against, I forgot the name of that. So the home team comes up. They score 3 to make it 13-12. They have second and third 2 outs. And it's a line drive to right center field. A run scores to tie it. The second runner streaking to the plate. He scores, and they win the game.
Damn.
Both teams scored 5 in the last inning. There were kids, including my son, surrounding the outfield fence. They all came running on the field as the kids won. And it was such a cool experience for those kids to get that walk-off win.
Awesome.
14-13.
That is awesome.
Zach and Ken Rosenthal just released a story. It is gambling.
It is gambling.
For Ortiz.
Do we know how many games he's suspended for?
No. Like
he's gone for the year, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it is gambling. Off you go.
So there it's official from Ken Rosenthal and Zach Meisel. Luis Ortiz suspended for gambling. We don't know the details yet. It's possible his career is over. It depends what he did here.
When you say gambling, what did he?
Did he make bets?
The story gives no actual details.
Yeah.
The only information that we didn't know 10 minutes ago was it's gambling.
It's gambling, which we assumed, but we didn't know, especially the way Zach was not answering the questions.
Right. Right.
But here's the thing: you can be suspended just for betting on sports from the locker room.
Okay.
If it's something like that, well, his career's not over. If he actually bet on baseball, he's done. Right, Jason?
I'm hoping it ain't like
if you bet on baseball, I believe you're banned for life.
Beasley thing where he out there, you clearly can see.
Well, you can make anything work.
Beasley was in bad. He owed a lot of people a lot of money.
He did.
We're going to get to a basketball topic.
So this could be a big deal. Let me just say this real quick.
He tried to get to LeBron.
There's a possibility Luis Ortiz, who was the big pickup in the Jimenez trade, and again, I know Jimenez stinks, at least offensively. What you could have gotten, Luis Ortiz's career could be over.
Yeah.
It's possible. If he bet on baseball, he's going to be suspended for life.
Yeah.
We'll see.
As soon as we get more information, obviously, we'll continue to update that. So we're going to get on to a little LeBron talk after a quick reminder that FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook, also the #1 sportsbook of all fans of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. If you guys have a winning ticket on FanDuel over the summer, whether it's on the Guardians, baseball, boxing, UFC, hockey, football, basketball, you name it, you win it. Send it in to us so we can feature it on the show. If you're new to FanDuel and haven't signed up already, well, new customers right now can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. Open up the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. So, guys, the LeBron James out of LA smoke is heating up. The rumors by the day are getting more intense. And yesterday, they may have hit a fever pitch. We had a couple of things happen yesterday. First and foremost, Gambo, who is a prominent Phoenix radio host, had this to say about what he's hearing on the LeBron James front. John Gambaro, Phoenix radio host, said, quote, "I was told this after the playoffs by someone close to LeBron. Said, quote, LeBron wants out of LA and they want him gone. Watch game 1, how disinterested LeBron was. Now, most people on here know that my sources are not the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. If Gambo says something more often than not, and I'm talking in the 99th and higher percentile, Gambo's usually spot on with this." Brian Windhorst, who obviously is connected to LeBron James, at first when
is Brian connected to LeBron James? Is that an accurate description?
Brian is very well connected to the people in LeBron's circle.
Okay.
So at first when these rumors came out, he said nothing to it, no way he's getting moved. He was on First Take yesterday and changed his tune a little bit. This is Brian Windhorst on First Take giving an update on the LeBron James situation.
When the idea of a trade came up, I slammed the door on it and said, first off, LeBron wants to be a Laker. If he didn't want to be a Laker, he opted out. He has a no-trade clause. Everything that Bontemps just said. Over the last 3 days, I have unlocked the door. I wouldn't say that I'm opening the door. I would just say I've unlocked the door. The door I slammed and locked on Sunday, I'm not 100% sure. And that is because my conversations over the last 3 days have crystallized that the Lakers are essentially viewing LeBron as an expiring contract. And that may sound like a toss-off statement, but that's not insignificant. LeBron has never been an expiring contract, quite literally. Never in his 23-year career, over the 9 contracts he's signed, over all the different teams he's been on, he's never been on the last year of his contract. He's never been 40 years old. He's never not been the franchise player on his team. The Lakers and LeBron, whoever wants to spin their side of the story, I'm not sure what happened, but the Lakers and LeBron did not have substantive discussions about extending his contract, which every team LeBron's been on for 20-something years has wanted to have substantive conversations about extending his contract. And what happens to expiring contracts in the NBA? They're viewed as trade pieces. So, for all those reasons, the money, the fact that LeBron and Luka are still a very formidable duo, the fact that the Lakers are not done with their offseason, the fact that trading him is crazy, the fact that this is being built around Luka and they've got to maintain their cap sheet, and all of those things, everything that makes sense. But I'm just unlocking the door because I'm not as convinced as before of its impossibility.
Jason, let me ask you, why, great, fascinating stuff, and I know you're obviously all over this story. If LeBron wants out, why did he not opt out?
$50 million.
But somebody else would have paid him that, no?
No.
Okay.
There's the only team. I wrote about this the other day in The Athletic about how free agency's been killed in the NBA.
Right.
The only team that had a max slot was the Brooklyn Nets. You think Bron's going to Brooklyn?
Right.
That's the only team that has a max slot to pay him.
But Jason, here's what I don't understand. If he wanted out that bad, he's made more money.
It doesn't matter. It's $50 million.
I just don't understand that.
It does. Like one of these days, you'll come around that it doesn't matter how much money they have.
Chelsea Clinton.
It doesn't matter how much money they have. It's $50 million. It's $50 million.
It's a non-factor in his life, but go ahead. Yeah.
I don't want to get too far off topic, but like the idea of like when the Cavs were, are they going to be a tax team? Are they not going to be a tax team?
Yeah.
Part of it, not a big, but a part of it is, well, you get a revenue sharing check. If you're not a tax-paying team, you get a check from the tax-paying teams, like $15 or $20 million. Dan's got billions. What's $20 million mean to him? It's still $20 million. It's still a $20 million check. All
right, I guess.
So you're not going to walk away. If you're LeBron, you're not going to walk away from $52 million. You pick up the option. And now you're guaranteed $52 million, unless there's a buyout.
Yeah.
So
how much is
where do you want to go with this?
How much is a buyout?
Well, I wanted to mention one more thing.
Go ahead.
He was spotted, not 100% confirmed, but spotted golfing in Ohio yesterday.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I believe it's true, but it doesn't matter.
Hat. No, I just wanted to mention LeBron does everything for a reason. He had the welcome home hat. So, Jason, I just wanted to ask you, for the first time in the show's history, maybe not actually because it happened earlier, but the first time in the last year, we've probably had 15 to 20 different LeBron could he come home conversations. Is this the most seriously you're ever taking the possibility that LeBron James could make a return to the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I'm not there yet on the Cavs. I'm not there because I don't believe that this team would tear up its roster to bring him back.
They should.
I don't believe it. They're not going to. I don't believe that they're going to.
Okay.
The only path that I believe makes sense to Cleveland is a buyout. And even that, I can't quite get there yet in my head on like, why would the Lakers do that? But if you're like, New York actually to me makes a lot of sense. Like New York could trade Karl Anthony Towns and get LeBron. They've already got Mike Brown. LeBron knows and respects Mike. He's played for him before.
Yeah.
The Mike Brown hire to me was like a neon flashing sign of like, hey, what's going on? I do believe that there are a lot of conversations going on regarding this that none of us are aware of, whether that's with the Cavs, with the Knicks, whatever. I do believe that there is a lot of smoke around this.
If hasn't he said in the past he can't go to a fourth team?
No, he hasn't said that.
I thought he had said that to you.
He talked.
Now the Knicks would be a good team because they're a highlight team, but they haven't won anything.
We talked in 2018.
Yeah.
When I knew he was leaving, I just knew it in my soul. That it was over.
Right.
And I said, "How many is too many?" And he said, his answer was something to the effect of, when I saw Michael play in a Wizards jersey, I knew anything was possible and nothing lasts forever. And he did not at the time, this is 7 years ago, he's changed his mind on 1,000 things 1,000 different times since then. But in 2018, he said 3 teams is not too many. But he did allude to the fact that there is a number out there where it gets to be, where it sort of is degrading of your legacy when you play for too many teams. The difference is, if he were to go to New York and win a championship, which is entirely possible, if he closed out his career in New York and brought a title there,
4th different city,
he is the first player. Show me another player. I believe he's, and this means something. Like, this matters to him. They are all aware of this and they know this.
Yeah.
He's the only player to lead 3 different franchises to a championship.
Right.
Not like Robert Ory.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you are the dude taking a team to a title with 3 different franchises. Nobody else has done that to my knowledge.
I mean,
now imagine making that 4.
If LeBron goes to the Knicks, they're immediate favorites in the East.
Absolutely. No? Yes.
Wherever LeBron goes in the East, they'd be.
He is. I was talking to somebody this morning driving in here. He's still a top 10 player in the league.
Without a doubt.
Like, he's 41 years old.
Absurd.
He's a top 10 player in the league.
It's absurd.
So I don't see any world where the Cavs deconstruct their roster to make a trade for LeBron. It's too complicated. It's cost too many pieces. And another important piece on this, why would LeBron want to come to a place that had to deconstruct the roster to acquire him? He has never, anytime he's joined another team, it's been through free agency, where they haven't had to give up any pieces. Now, technically, when he went to Miami, it was a sign and trade, and Miami had to send the Cavs draft picks. He don't care about draft picks.
No.
So that was a free agent move. The Heat, we all know what the Heat roster was that he was walking into. Right. When he came back here, free agency, he knew what the roster was he was walking into. When he went to L.A., free agent, knew what he was walking into. I don't believe he would want to come here in a trade to where they would have to pull apart the roster. He would want to walk into a situation that's whole. New York's a different story.
Well, but you're still trading a very good player in Karl Anthony Towns.
You are, but you're not gutting the roster for him. It's one player.
Why would the Cavs have to gut the roster and the Knicks wouldn't?
Because the Cavs are a second apron team. And I think
the Cavs have to give up $20 million on top of the 52 that LeBron makes to get under the second apron to be able to aggregate the salaries to make that work.
It is massive.
Yeah. So
now, the one thing I've learned in the last week is never say never, because never in my life have I seen an NBA team eat a $100 million contract until the other day. Right. So never say never on this stuff, right? It takes one dude to say, screw it, we're doing it. I just don't see that world. I think the Warriors could trade Jimmy Butler and it would be a 1-for-1 and they could make that swap. I don't know why LA would do that necessarily. Like, Towns is younger.
Weird. I mean, LeBron, like, wasn't he just complaining about guys doing ring chasing recently?
It depends on which way the wind is blowing, what he's going to say on a given day.
But wouldn't it be weird for him to go there?
He loves the Warriors.
I know.
He loves the Warriors.
I know.
He loves what they've built. He loves their culture. He loves he loves everything about it. But
why didn't he go there instead of the Lakers?
Because he could never join them. After there's
so then
no
why join
way.
him now?
I asked that as well.
Yeah.
I think at the time there was no way he could go there. It was too soon. Now has enough time passed. I don't know.
They're not the Warriors
They're
anymore.
not the Warriors of 2016, 17, 18.
Yeah.
So the only way to me that makes sense of him coming here would be on a buyout. And I don't understand why LA would do that, why they would pay him. Because a buyout, he's not giving back half the money.
No.
He's only giving back a few million. I have a hard time getting all the way there on why the Lakers would do that. And I have a hard time believing that he would come here on a minimum.
Right.
Because it would have to be a minimum. And I can't believe that he would play for Dan knowing Dan is only paying him the minimum. There would have to be something else on the back end.
Right.
To make that deal whole.
And is LeBron...
His son is guaranteed a roster spot.
More than that. That ain't enough.
And you have
more
to
than
draft
that.
Is
Bryce
LeBron the only player with enough power? Because the Lakers buying him out doesn't make any sense. But could LeBron force their hand on that?
Sure. He's LeBron.
Yeah.
But
in a trade, they get something for him.
In a trade, you get something for him. And by just buying him out and letting him walk, I don't know why they would do that. But again, never say never, man. We've seen some weird things. Who would ever think Luka would be traded? Who would ever think that Milwaukee would eat a $100 million contract? So you can't ever say never.
Right.
I just have a hard time believing that. And again, I'm talking Cleveland specific. Yeah. How does he get here? To me, it has to be a buyout. It's not going to be a trade.
Right.
And
you're not even convinced he would come here even if there was a buyout, as you just said.
If there was, I'm not totally convinced he would be here because I would be shocked that he would only take minimum from Dan and that's all they could give him. I think that's just still a weird relationship. It always has been. It always will be. But if there's a sweetener.
Like what? Ownership? Partial ownership?
Maybe that 15% that's being...
Dan ain't going to own the team forever.
Yeah. He's like an agreement to sell the team to LeBron. Can LeBron afford an NBA team? Does he have that much money?
He's the first billionaire in NBA history.
I mean,
but you got to be a multi-billionaire to own a team, don't you?
He could get the investors.
Fair. Good point.
He could get
there.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, so if you're asking me right now, no, I don't think this is happening.
So let me ask you
Why
this.
ain't nobody ever offered me a sweetener?
Give me the percentages here, Jason. You got four things. He stays with the Lakers, he goes to the Cavs, he goes to the Knicks, or he goes to another team. Percentage of each, you had to bet on it right now.
I'm gonna take the easy way out and say 25, 25, 25, 25.
No, get out of here.
I mean, listen.
Do you want me to answer first, Jason?
Odds are, I think he stays with LA.
I think so too.
For right now.
More than 50%?
For right now.
If he leave, he going to the Knicks.
What team is he on opening night? I don't know, Mike.
Well, I'm talking about opening night. Forget now. Mike, all right, give me yours, Mike. Opening night, percentage chance he's on the Lakers, the Knicks, the Cavs, or other.
I think it's 50% Lakers, so that's by far the most likely.
Yeah.
25% the Cavs, 15% the Knicks, 10% other.
So you think the Cavs are more likely than the Knicks? You think?
I don't know. I don't know. You know, I hate playing these games because I don't know what he's truly thinking.
Have you ever talked to him about playing in New York? Has he ever talked to you about interest in playing there? I mean, he talks about Madison Square Garden in a certain way.
He's never. I don't think he's ever. I mean, he had the opportunity in 2010.
Yeah,
and he didn't want nothing to do with it.
They got a bad owner.
He's at a different spot in his career now than he was back then. Have we ever sat down and discussed New York specifically?
Yeah.
No.
It would be smart for him to come to the East because the East is wide open.
Absolutely.
Next year, more than it's ever been in a long time.
And like feelings change and things change, and maybe guys have a right to change their mind.
Right.
Because I said for years I felt like he had just reached the point where he's good with 4, and he's willing to ride out his career in LA because his family likes it there. Savannah loves it there. His kids are there.
Have to move.
He's never played away from them, and that's worth noting.
The kids are all
Zuri's only 13. Zuri's like Zuri's between 12 and 14. She's right around my daughter's age.
Yeah.
So, and it again doesn't mean it can't happen.
Right.
I'm just saying he's never played. They've always been with him in whatever city.
Okay.
And do you want to pull your daughter at that in so important formative year and yank her across the country? I mean, you can. People have done it before. I don't know. These are all things to consider. And there was so much smoke. There was just noise last year that I could never fully wrap my arms around about the Cavs' interest in Bronny in that draft. So that's just playing in the back of my head. And we had the conversation the other day. Would the Cavs want him back? I think there's a big piece of them that want to say we're going to do this without him. We won 64 games.
But they're not going to.
We want to finish it without him. And then the reality also is Dan has won 2 playoff series in 20 years of ownership without LeBron.
Yeah.
And with them, they went to the finals 4 straight years. Huh?
Zuri's 10.
Oh, she's 10. Okay, so she's younger than I thought. I thought she was older than that.
October of 2014 is her birthday. So
Okay. All right. So anyway.
Turning 11.
So anyway, the point remains he's never played away from his family. Now, Bronny obviously is an adult. Bryce is in college, so it's really just Zuri left at home.
Yeah.
I don't know. And who's to say? Yeah, for a year he can play away from them for a year.
Right.
Is Bryce in college or is he a senior this year in high school? I know he committed to Arizona.
Yeah, I think he's going to college.
Honestly, if the Cavs signed LeBron, you'd only want him to play 25 games in the regular season? I mean, I wouldn't want him to play that much.
He would never agree to that.
No, I know. I'm exaggerating, but I wouldn't want him to play that much in the regular season.
He would play. He wants to play. He's not coming here to sit on the bench and wait for April.
Hear you.
And in LeBron now, it's weird. His game is totally different.
Yeah.
He's still a dominant force in this league, but he doesn't defend at all. At all.
But he will in the playoffs, won't he?
He's a parking cone.
No, I hear you.
And he'll yell at you.
Yell at you. Your guy runs.
He blows the assignment. He yells at you.
Jason, don't do that.
He does.
Oh, yeah,
I
we
love
see it
the
all
guy.
the time.
I mean, that's why
Jason's right.
Tristan wanted to strangle him because he did that in here. Remember when Tristan went at him?
Oh, yeah.
Because LeBron was doing that. And Tristan, went at him. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Actually, it was great.
He'll blow the so he get mad
But,
at you.
yeah, that's what
He'd play defense in the playoffs, wouldn't he? Or did he not this year?
I mean,
I gotta go back.
No one played defense this year.
He's 41.
Yeah.
He's not really a wing, and he's more of a power forward than a wing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's LeBron. You figure it out. You make it work.
I gotta go back and watch the tape this year. He don't play defense.
LeBron can play defense for certain possessions when he wants to.
Right.
But
Big
expecting
spots in the
LeBron
playoffs, he
to
would do
play
it.
So you mean to tell
defense
me
for 40 minutes in a game is well past?
Why would you want him to do that in the regular season?
You mean to tell me that the Lakers have Luka and LeBron with no center last year? So you got 2 people that play no defense
Austin Reeves
with no
3.
paint protection. Oh man,
For all the shit that we
no
give Darius Garland defensively, his defensive rating was 100 in the overall rankings in the regular season. He was 100 rankings ahead of where LeBron was in defensive rating.
Yeah, I'd rather have LeBron.
Yeah, I would too. I'm just saying, it's not like LeBron is a defensive stopper by any means. And
Who thinks he's a defensive stopper?
really-
And by the way,
Tyvis is
I'm not
shot
giving
at.
Darius Garland credit for having a better defensive rating than a 41-year-old power forward.
That was not a credit to Darius. It was more of a
Good.
look at the reality of where
LeBron
is
is.
in defensive.
Do you think the Cavs? You think because didn't Donovan just sit down and say we ain't the LeBron Cavs?
A few Darius has said it too.
Then we
They
can
want to do it without him.
Yeah.
Then they could keep losing in the second round of the playoffs.
But that was such a devastating loss this year.
Yeah.
Who knows what kind of impact that had?
Yeah.
Really, this comes down to what does LeBron want, and I have no idea. I'm not even going to pretend to know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what he wants on July 3rd.
You don't want
Jason, can I ask you a question real quick? This is not
That'd be
the
funny if
first
Jason
time.
said, no, I will not.
That is
your
true,
question.
Jason. If you ever want to decline the question, that is your right. But this is not the first time LeBron has, I don't want to say hijacked the spotlight.
He does it all the
but
time.
This is right out of the LeBron playbook.
Yes.
He uses his leverage.
Yes.
He wants to be the center point of conversations, of podcasts. He likes being talked about
Yes.
on a national stage. And whether that results in him leaving L.A. I mean, he came to the Cleveland playoff game a couple of years ago. We covered that at length when him and Savannah were here at the Rocket Arena. How does this feel compared to some of the previous times where LeBron used a little bit of his leverage to take the story back, to try and get whatever the result is he wanted? Does this feel different? Or does it feel in line
the
with
reason this feels different is because he doesn't really have the hammer anymore because the Lakers are building around Luka. Like, he has always been the focal point of every organization he's ever been part of. Mm-hmm. And it was always, well, you have to do whatever you can to keep LeBron. And I think, in 2018, if you were around that team every day, you just felt it. You knew the string was out. Like, it was over. And I think the Cavs had their typical end of season meeting with him and said, what do you want to do? Or I don't even know if they had it with him. I don't remember if it was with Rich or whatever. It doesn't matter. But he has always been the hammer. He's held the hammer because he is the hammer with every organization. And now the Lakers are telling him, you are not part of our future. Like, we don't really care what you want and think anymore. Mm. And that probably bothers him because he always has been the guy. He's always been the guy.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame him.
At
He's 41 years old,
yeah.
Is this the... Because didn't they just sell the Lakers? So is this the new owners that's got this type of...
Well, Jeannie still... She sold the team, but she's still staying on.
So Jeannie is the one making this?
And Jeannie has said before, like they paid Kobe astronomical salaries well past his prime because she wanted to develop, she wanted the reputation that the Lakers take care of their legends, the Lakers take care of their stars. And so how does that play into this as well? Mm-hmm. Because he's a legend and he's never been embraced in LA. I think he's never admitted it. To me, certainly, I talk to him a couple times a year. That's it.
Yeah.
But I think it bothers him the fact that he's never been embraced in LA the way he thought he would be.
He should have known that.
From the day he got there, they were like, whatever, you're not Kobe.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, and I remember one press conference where he said, like, I'm here, guys. Like, I signed however many years. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here. But the fact that he was never embraced to the level that I think he expected, does that play a role in any of this? I don't know. But the Lakers wanted to take care of their stars, and if he comes to them and says, I want out, what do? You would want to get something for him.
Right.
So do you trade him to New York for a Karl Anthony Towns? That makes a lot of sense for the Lakers. I know they just got Ayton, but that makes a lot more sense from the Lakers' perspective than buying him out and letting him leave as a free agent and letting him join the Cavs. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
No, that makes no sense at all.
So a trade still seems the most viable. And who knows? Because he postures like this all the time. But if he truly does want to leave LA, then a trade out seems much more logical to me than a buyout.
Yeah.
For Cleveland's perspective, the buyout is the only way that it makes any sort of sense to me. Right. So that's just...
It wouldn't be a shocker. This would be typical LeBron if, like, he lets the story hang out for a while, and then, like, a week or two from now, he's like, yeah, the media was just creating narratives. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't know.
100% could happen.
Right.
Absolutely.
If he came back to Cleveland, would you go back to being
No.
I didn't even finish the question.
Why would he do that?
I didn't even finish the question.
You can still cover the Cavs as much as you want.
Jason, how would the media landscape change if he did come back here?
You ain't even let me finish the question.
It wouldn't be quite like it was.
It wouldn't be like it was. Just the media environment in general is vastly different.
Would the newly married Dave McMenamin come back to Cleveland?
No, he is not coming back.
He's LA for good, right?
His wife is not moving to Cleveland. She's got kind of a big job. Can't do it from Cleveland.
Where is she from originally?
Oakland area. Bay Area.
Who?
Malika Andrews.
Oh.
But would ESPN send a reporter here? I don't know. Is he at 41? Is he worth the juice? Maybe.
I guess.
We're still talking about him as the number one story 3 days into free agency.
Yeah, so maybe ESPN does.
Well, we're talking about him here because.
No, I think the whole. I mean, he was the lead topic on Zach Lowe's podcast yesterday. He was the lead topic on Russillo.
Yeah, I mean, what else? What else are you talking about right now?
Free agency.
What? Like who?
I'm saying that he is the biggest story. Free agency's dead. It's not what it used to be anyway. Right. But LeBron is the biggest story in a time that used to be.
But just because there's no other big stories at the moment.
I mean, right? I don't know how much time you want to spend on this, but like even look
at we're gonna skip the next topic till our guest is ready. So we got
All right. So like even look at. I mean, obviously the Cleveland media landscape has changed drastically since 2018, massively. But even from ESPN, I mean, they've got Brian, they've got Tim Bontemps, Tim McMahon, Dave covers the NBA. Mm-hmm. Who else really covers the NBA for ESPN?
Jason Lloyd.
No.
You don't want to go there?
I'm
Kendrick
good.
Perkins.
I'm good.
Why not?
He's not a reporter.
Bob Myers.
Ramona Shelburne.
I think you.
Ramona, but
you'll be a respectable analyst.
I don't want to work that hard. Dude.
Will you stop with that?
I'm good, man.
He'll understand in 20 years.
So yeah, it is curious, like how. I mean, when he was here before, it was me, Haynes, Varden, and McMenamin. I mean, look at now where all those. Not me. I'm still sitting here. But look where everybody else.
You choose to
I chose to be. I chose to be.
Listen, man, I cover LeBron.
I mean, it's not like Joe's got a high-profile job. Come on.
He's a national NBA writer for the New York Times.
I cover
busting your balls,
LeBron.
Joe.
We got the same hairline now. I fixed mine, so we good.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who didn't climb the ladder off that.
Tyvis, if you could have.
You could have.
Tyvis, if you played one-on-one with LeBron right now to 21, how many points would you score?
21.
Come on, seriously.
Do it look like I'm playing with you?
You can't even be realistic.
21.
In his mind, he is
Would
being
Tyvis
realistic.
score a point?
Yes.
No.
I'd score 21. You
Nine.
just said the man don't play defense.
But
21.
But this is why he played in the NFL.
You kidding me?
This is why.
He
See, that's the
LeBron
thing.
one
It's
on
the
one.
thing.
It is these dudes.
This the thing.
These dudes have irrational
You're
confidence
right.
in
No.
every
See,
situation.
this is the thing. This
Yeah.
the thing. People look at LeBron like
Yeah.
he's just he's just gifted guy.
Yeah.
I'm 250 now. We can get that.
Yeah, but what does he weigh? 300?
Look,
265.
Can you dunk?
We-
Can you dunk?
yes.
LeBron don't
All
weigh
right.
265.
Are you
He's gotta weigh
crazy?
more
I'm
than
just
that.
asking, man.
I think he
don't
did
know.
weigh more. I think right now at 41, he probably weighs about 265.
265?
Physical game.
Dude, you couldn't score against LeBron.
You
What are
don't think I
talking
would
about?
score against LeBron?
I think he would score.
Are
think he'd
you
score?
insane?
He would score. He wouldn't win.
What would be the final score?
21-0, me.
Oh my God in heaven!
21-2? You give him 2 buckets?
I'd give him 3 or 4.
21-0,
He gave me
me.
3 or 4 buckets.
I'll give you 3 or 4.
You
ain't
can't have a
winning.
real conversation with you here because
You
you're
ain't
not
winning.
you're being crazy.
I wouldn't
Tyvis
lose.
would be lucky to get one.
You crazy.
Lucky to get one.
I don't think that LeBron could take it seriously enough to shut him out.
Have you seen Tyvis play?
No. I don't think I would get one.
No, I
But
know
again,
that.
I
I'm
don't-
trying. Like who? I was going to ask you who would win between
At,
you and
40,
Tyvis. in
at
a one-on-one.
41 years old, why is LeBron going to be motivated to take this seriously?
That's fair.
So he would get a couple.
Okay, that's true.
We got our guest, Bull. Tell us a little bit about Menu RX. I'm bringing Scott Bentley here to talk a little guards.
Yeah, Menu RX is awesome. If you're hoping to lose weight, if you want to get in better shape, you want to look better, you got to know what foods work best for your body. What foods will energize you the most? What foods will negatively affect you the most? You know, you could watch some crackpot on the internet, or you can go to some national chain weight loss center, and they'll tell you, they'll give you numbers for everything. But one size doesn't fit all, and the person on the internet doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. The reality is that foods treat people differently. Some foods that are good for some people are not good for others. How do you find out the answers? You actually talk to people that are experts, doctors and scientists. Go to menu-rx.com, talk to Dr. Jake May and the team, and find out for you what works. They will test you, and you'll figure out what is the best plan for you going forward. One-on-one counseling. And if you sign up now, you'll get a 1-year membership to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show absolutely free. That's a $60 value. So go to menu-rx.com today. That's menu-rx.com.
Tomorrow night's Guardians game against the Tigers is on WKYC, so we have Locked On Tigers host Scott Bentley here joining us to help preview that series. How you doing today, Scott?
Doing all right. How you doing, boys?
We're doing terribly because the Guardians are awful. You're living the life of luxury here with the Tigers. I did not see the Tigers being this good. I mean, we all knew they'd be good, but I did not see them being this good. Obviously, there's been some big surprises. Javi Baez, his contract had been a total waste until this year, but he's played well.
He's a starting outfielder in the All-Star game.
He shouldn't be in the All-Star game, but he's had a good season. Torkelson has bounced back this year after a miserable season last year. I think those are two of the biggest names. But I mean, even as a Tigers guy, you didn't think they'd be this good, did you?
I didn't think they'd have the best record in baseball heading into the break. No, I
Yeah.
certainly did not. It's been it's been a wild ride, honestly. Like, obviously, the second half of last season, from the trade deadline of last year until now, they've had the best record in baseball. They were, 8 games under 500 in early August, and then made the postseason, and obviously took the Guards to 5 games there, and you all got the better of us, and now that momentum has just carried over into this year, and now, like they have the best record in baseball. It's not unexplainable, but it's certainly I don't know what word I'm thinking
unexpected?
of. It certainly was not something that was predictable, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy that you guys are doing well. You know, the last time that the Guardians played Detroit, I think the Guardians won that series, right? Three or four. Yeah. What did you see in that series that, first of all, I know that was shocking to a lot of people, but what did you see out of that series from the Guardians and the Tigers that made that be the result, and what will be different this time around?
Yeah, it's interesting. So that series, the Tigers were kind of saved by just like Tarek Skubal going in the last game. It's kind of like the ultimate safety valve. It's like, oh, you've lost the first 2 or 3 games of a series. Then it's just like, let's just throw Tarek and everything will be fine. So I think that continues to be somewhat of a concern for Detroit, is like the starting pitching outside of Skubal has been very injury plagued so far this season. Reese Olson might come back, unfortunately for y'all, against the Guards this weekend. He's been really good this year when he's been healthy. Meisel has been really good, but he's been on the injured list a couple of times. Like, it just has – they've had a hard time outside of Skubal keeping that rotation intact, and so the bullpen has been really taxed and whatnot. But, yeah, I mean, I think that in terms of what I'm expecting this weekend, like – maybe it sounds like cocky or arrogant, but I go into every series kind of expecting to win the series. Not sweep everybody, obviously, but like I kind of expect the Tigers to go in and take care of business and take 2 of 3 from most teams at this point, especially if you can get Skubal on the mound in that series.
You should, no doubt, especially with Skubal, correct. One guy I didn't mention when I mentioned the Tigers getting the bounce backs from Baez and Torkelson is a guy that I spent the entire offseason saying the Guardians should sign, Gleyber Torres.
Between your Gleyber and his John Kenzie,
okay,
I need a
huge difference. Drink. John Kenzie Noel sucks. Gleyber Torres is an all-star for the Tigers. And did I not say that he'd be a perfect fit for the Guardians?
You didn't say that.
I said it the whole offseason. The Tigers signed him, and he's been a great addition. Talk about that pickup. Will you, Scott?
Yeah,
because he's been great.
No, so obviously he's the starting second baseman for the American League in the All-Star game. It was announced yesterday.
Yeah.
It's so weird, like, honestly, because it's not that we didn't expect him to be solid. Like, we kind of expected him to be, honestly, one of the better hitters on a lineup last year for the Tigers that was not very good. But his I don't know, development maybe is like too specific of a word, but like his how he has changed throughout his career is so fascinating. Like when he was young with the Yankees, he had a 40 home run season. Like this year, he's not hitting for a lot of power, but he literally has more walks than strikeouts on the season. Like he is just an on-base machine. He doesn't have, I think he has single-digit homers. Like he's not even going to hit 20 this year, but he gets on base better than almost anybody in the sport, and having that at the top of your lineup is incredible when you have guys like you mentioned. Torkelson's playing better, and then obviously Riley Green has been one of the best players in baseball this season. So having those guys behind Gleyber, I think, has been one of the biggest focal points of this offense this season for sure.
So what do they do at the trade deadline? Their farm system is loaded, and how much is Skubal's future hanging over the decisions that they make?
Yeah, a lot. a lot is the Skubal thing is the talk of the town pretty much. Man, I get exhausted. Like your team every day, it's just talking about whether they're going to extend Skubal every day is really my show at this point. It's it's definitely looming. They have a year and a half left, so he's a free agent after next season. There's talks about, giving him $400 million, making him the highest paid pitcher in the history of baseball. I think most Tigers fans are kind of like, just sign the check, dude. Like, just do it. Like, how can you watch him pitch every fifth day and not kind of want that on your team for the foreseeable future? But I think that it also, and I'm glad you brought those points up together, because I think they go hand in hand, right? Like, your window with Tarek Skubal guaranteed on your roster is 1.5 years. You better make the most of it, right? Like, you better go all out. And as you mentioned, they have one of the best farm systems in baseball, on top of having a lot of regular season and major league success this year. So they have the resources to make some trades and make sure that, okay, even if we don't extend him, we're going to make the most out of these next 2, hopefully, postseasons with him and try to capitalize on it.
Would they trade a Max Clark or McGonigal? Like, how do they view – like, Cleveland never trades its top prospects. Would Detroit trade its top guys to go all in or no?
They should.
So, honestly, I think the answer is different for those two guys. From the bottom of my heart, I do not think there is unless you're getting like Paul Skeens with 5 years of control left, which is like not happening. That's also ridiculous. I do not see a world in which Kevin McGonigal is traded to anybody. I think, the front office is very, we don't believe in untouchables. Well, you believe in value, though, and I'm not sure that there's any player out there that is going to give the value that the Tigers would want in return for McGonigal. Now, Clark, I don't think they're like shopping him. They love Max Clark, and he is having a really solid year and probably is going to be in Double-A here in the next couple of weeks. Like, they love him. He's a great prospect. He's highly ranked, etc. But I think that, that one might be more in the realm of possibility than McGonigal. I think he's pretty much untouchable. But really, I don't foresee them moving on from either of those two, or Preseño, who's number 3 in terms of hitting in the organization. Any of those guys, I think, is going to be pretty tough to move for sure.
All right, Scott, enjoy the rest of the season. We appreciate you taking the time. We'll talk to you again. Take care.
I appreciate y'all.
All right, this Scott Bentley covers the Tigers, Locked On Tigers podcast. It's I'm sure they're a fun team to cover right now. They're playing really well. They've had a great season.
Why are we so down like this?
It's been awful.
But it's like, it's sad because there's no exciting Cleveland team right now.
Well, I mean, Cavs won 64 games. I understand how it ended. I get it. But it's not like there's no hope. Like, come on.
But it's hard to be excited about them.
They're the favorite to win the East right now, I think.
Okay, now do the Browns.
But Jason, no. You can understand why it's hard to be excited about the Cavs.
Sure,
right?
But it's not like they're in the position that these other two teams are in.
No,
and the Guardians. Sure. I'm more down on the Guardians than I've been in a long time.
This is the most I've been down since the year I got here before Francona.
Yeah, I mean, just because even 2 years ago when they traded Savali, when they made the Savali trade, I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Like, fine, man. Like, Manzardo's a good player. He's going to fit right in. They're going to bounce right back. I didn't think he was playing way over his head.
Yeah.
They're going to bounce back to foul, and they did.
Yeah.
I just, there's something wrong with the way that they teach hitting, and how can you get excited about this team? Like, why do we have faith the Lauder is going to be able to hit?
No, I said the same thing this morning. Kafis too.
Yeah, I mean, until they can start developing some guys and like guys that actually hit the ground running, it's hard to believe. Like, I don't know. I haven't been this down on this team in 20 years.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, they got you look at the good teams, and the good teams have so many guys with an OPS of like 750 or higher, and Stephen Kwan's got the second best OPS on the team, and it's like 765.
Yeah, I'm trying to remove the emotion from it because it's been such a bad couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But this Ortiz thing kind of puts it over the top.
Oh, my God. Especially if he's suspended forever.
It's like, what is going on?
Well, think about this. You traded Francisco Lindor, and really Ortiz is the last player left because you traded Jimenez to get him.
Yeah.
I know they got a couple of low-level minor leaguers in that deal, but everybody you got for Lindor is gone.
Yeah.
And you turned Jimenez into Ortiz.
I can't kill him for the Jimenez contract because I thought it was a good contract at the time.
I don't kill him
I was
for that.
excited when they gave him the deal. I thought it was a good deal. It didn't work out.
Nope.
And it was good to get off that money. But, I mean, if this is all you have left to show for, I don't think, I mean, you're right. He could be.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if his career is over. It's a possibility.
There was a player last year.
I know.
Career is over now.
I got a question about the wild card.
Yeah.
When is it like? When will y'all officially like wave the flag? Like they too far back.
It's not that they're too far back. It's the amount of teams going for.
And what are you hanging your hat on right now?
know.
They have a mediocre rotation.
I don't know.
And they have one of the worst lineups in baseball.
So if
they're fifth from the bottom in scoring runs per game. I mean, the only team.
I'll tell you right now. Hold on.
I mean, we've talked about this
runs
before.
per game, Mike. Kansas City's got, or there's some team. I think the White Sox or somebody has like one more run than them, but they played more games.
Their guards ball thing, even when it's going well, it's fun and it's exciting and everything. It doesn't win in the postseason.
No.
So what are we really doing here?
No.
And that's the part that's frustrating. History shows if you don't hit the ball out of the ballpark, you are not going to win in the playoffs.
So every Cleveland team doesn't perform in the postseason. Good.
I mean, they made the ALCS last year. That's not nothing, but it's not what you want either.
The Guardians have been a good franchise overall.
Absolutely.
They're in a bad place right now, and we've mostly, when they've not been good, blamed ownership. But front office deserves a lot of blame for a lot of decisions they've made in recent years. They've made a lot of bad decisions.
Because they have no margin for error.
Right.
Because of the position that ownership puts them.
Yeah.
And we ran out of time with Zach, but I was thinking about it like, oh man, I just blanked Barlow. They gave Barlow $7 million last year, and they spread out all this money to all these guys.
Yeah.
Where if you put it all together, if you have 15 or 18 million, you can go get it to Teoscar Hernandez or somebody.
Right.
They did the same thing this year, where they bring in the reliever,
Seawald.
They give Seawald. I think.
Well, they
like
also
the exact
signed
same.
what's his name, another relief pitcher for a couple of million.
Junis.
But Seawald was the big one for me because it's like
it was a waste,
and I kind of understood it because I think I said on the show. $7 million is going to get you much more of an impact arm than it is a bat.
Yeah.
So I get it. But when you take the Hedges money, and I know what he means to the clubhouse, but when you take what you're giving Hedges to not hit, and when you take what you gave Seawald, and then you can lump Junis in there, aren't you better off with one big bite at the apple and then fill out the other pieces with your farm system than to just diversify your portfolio?
Yeah. They could have signed Torres for that money.
So you say all that, y'all say all that, and y'all criticize the front office, but y'all still are on record saying that the Guardians front office is the best in town.
It's the best in town.
Okay.
It's the best in town.
It hasn't been in the last couple of years. I'd have to give that to the Cavs.
The Cavs have been very, very good the last couple of years. But still, overall performance, I can't take the Guardians out of the top spot.
This front office essentially has been there since before I got here. So
20 years.
Okay. If they don't turn it around in the next year, I'm gonna, for whatever it's worth, I'm gonna say they should be fired a year from now if we're in the same spot.
They watch the show.
I know they won't be, but I'm gonna say that.
I'm not even close to that
I can say whatever I want. I keep it real every time.
I'm not even close to that point.
I'm close. But this is the first time I've been.
But they have under.
What's the good moves they've made in the last few years?
What's the good moves they've made?
Matt Boyd.
Because I can give you
Matthew Boyd.
Okay, and then he walked.
Well, he proved Jason wrong. That's all that matters.
He was a very average.
He was not good.
He wasn't.
And I said,
look at his career
have
numbers.
a great year. What about Ben Lively?
The only reason we bust your chops about it is because you made it seem like it was the worst contract in the history of baseball.
Yeah, you did.
It went over the top
on the Cubs deal.
Yes.
It was an awful deal. Now it's turned out you can make awful bets that hit. It was.
You
can make awful bets in Vegas, and they can occasionally hit. It doesn't mean it was a good bet.
What about Ben Lively?
It was awful. The Alex Cobb bet was awful, and the Matthew Boyd bet was awful.
He was hurt, so.
And Cobb's hurt again.
Cobb hasn't played the whole year.
Where is Ben Lively?
He's hurt for the year.
Tommy John.
He's out. Gone.
What's going on? We just a mess.
$400 million on a pitcher is insane. If you're the Tigers aren't the Dodgers or the Yankees.
Would you do it?
No. I trade him.
Dang.
He's already had one Tommy John.
You ain't committed.
What
you ain't committed to nobody.
What are you?
$400 million?
It's Scooble.
All right.
How old is he?
28.
I trade him. I go all in this year.
It's a tough call.
And then I trade him.
It's such a tough call because you want to keep players like that.
Well, you say
Jason's probably right in the long term.
Do you want to know his numbers this year?
I know his numbers. They're
dominant.
Fantastic. He's got like a 2.15 ERA and
how often does pitchers fall off the cliff?
Fall off the cliff. They get hurt all the time.
Yeah,
and they don't necessarily.
Once pitchers hit their 30s, they often miss a lot of time with injury. That's just it. You know.
And he's 28.
As angry as we get,
I trade him.
The majority of massive contracts for guys around 30 turn out to be bad contracts, the majority of them.
Yep.
I'm with Jason. I'd trade him.
I'd go all in this year. Do whatever it takes to win.
Oh, 100%. I wouldn't trade him this offseason.
No. I would. You win the World Series?
You'd mortgage your farm system?
They have a very good farm system. They can
afford.
So
did the Guardians, is what I heard for many, many years, and I've never seen anything.
Which is why you go all in now.
That's right.
I guess you got a point there.
Parades are better than prospects. Yeah. Teams that hoard their prospects like the Guardians have, and they have just failed miserably developing prospects. They have failed miserably using prospects to get better. They have been an absolute zero at that the last few years, and that's why they're in this position.
Y'all
and the Tigers should absolutely use their prospects to get better. They need another veteran pitcher on that team. They need a veteran relief pitcher. I mean, I don't know. Can they get a? I know the back end of their pen with Vest and Canley's been good.
Very good.
I would get an established closer. I would.
Call Boston, get Chapman.
Yeah. I don't know if Boston's ready to cash their chips.
They traded their best hitter for prospects. I think they've already cashed their chips.
Y'all know Mike is mad at y'all, right?
Why is Mike mad?
Because he had another topic.
No, we're gonna say that for next week.
What was the topic?
It was about a second-round draft pick we had, on the cast.
Talk about Tyrese Proctor and why he.
Oh yeah, that thing that we did. No, I'm just saying it's evergreen. We can do that next.
Yeah, we can do it whenever. So we're gonna. No, I'm fascinated by the Skubal thing though because I'm looking at these numbers.
Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Skubal won the Cy Young last year. He went 18-4 with a 2.39 ERA, 192 innings, 228 strikeouts. He had a WHIP sub-1. This year his numbers are even better. It's 10-2. In 109 innings, he has 138 strikeouts. His WHIP is .83, Bull. .83. His strikeout to walk ratio is 10.
Yeah.
10, which leads Major League Baseball.
He'll be playing for
He is unquestionably the best starter in baseball right now.
Yeah.
Easily. The Mets.
Max Fried had been having a better season so far by a little bit, but
Skubal's going to win it again.
But I wouldn't. As I was about to say, I would still bet on Skubal winning the Cy Young.
You'll see him in a Mets or Padres jersey in a couple of years.
Yeah, it's interesting about the Mets. As much as they've spent, they haven't spent on pitching.
That's why they're going to do it.
They've made all their big signings on offense, not really pitching.
I don't know if you're a major league team. I mean, again, Yankees and Dodgers live in a world that no one else does. I don't know
the
how,
Mets do.
I'm about to say the Mets do.
The Mets, yeah, that's fair. But I don't know how any other normal team can invest $300 million in pitching. How can you?
Well, the Cubs, the Phillies, those teams can do it.
The highest,
they might not, but they can.
I mean, you're gonna the odds are high.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose 2 years to arm surgery.
Yeah, I hear
Who is the highest paid pitcher right now?
Who is the highest paid pitcher right now?
Is it the dude?
Fried was the highest paid lefty.
Fried just got a big deal, but somebody else.
What about the name has just escaped me.
I don't know.
He played for the Yankees, or maybe
Garrett
Cole is the highest paid pitcher ever.
He's out for the year.
He's out for the year,
and he missed half of last year.
Yeah.
He got $324 was Cole's contract.
$324.
It's a lot.
He out for the year too.
Yeah.
How old is Garrett Cole?
Old, 33. I think he's 33.
Yeah, he ain't doing school. No favors.
34.
34. I was off here.
And he's going to be out into next year.
$300 million?
I mean, the contract was a couple of years ago.
He signed it a few years ago.
Oh, my
And he won't be back till July. He'll probably be back around early July next year.
Yeah, he had surgery. Yeah.
March.
Right.
Basically missed 2 full years.
What's that?
He'll basically end up missing 2 full years of his peak.
Right, because he missed most of last year, all of this year, and then some of next year.
You know who else going to go to the Mets? Shane Bieber.
No. West Coast.
Oh, Padres.
Angels, Dodgers, Padres, somewhere in there.
I mean, the Dodgers have so many pitchers. I don't know that they'd find another starter.
I mean, why not? Why not?
You know where I could see
the
him
Padres need. I feel like they need another one.
He wants to be in Southern California.
You know, I was going to say the Giants, but
that'd be nice.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
they
close
could
enough.
use it. Like if you added him to go with Robbie Ray and Logan Webb.
Yeah, he's a
salary. Is he going to demand a lot of money?
Not really. I mean, not crazy money. No.
If he pitches his butt off when he comes back, it'll set him up for a really fascinating.
Yeah, but he's not getting like what Max.
He's not getting $300 million.
But he's never has he ever hit like a big contract?
No.
Because he's been with us.
They've tried, and he rejected them, and then he had the arm problems.
Yep.
Dang. I feel bad for him and McKenzie then.
Yeah.
Well,
what do you think Bieber's career earnings are?
What's that?
What do you think his career
Bieber?
earnings? Yeah.
$20 million.
No, more than that. 40. Let's see. Wait.
He made
I'll say about 60.
15, 25, 33. I'll say between 35 and 40.
41.3.
Nice job.
Because he's like 15 this year, and that's his highest number. He made nothing his first 3 years. He was making like a $500,000. He was a low pick, so he didn't get a signing bonus.
Yeah.
Jason know how to count people's pockets.
Yeah.
It's my job.
I mean, poor guy. He's only made $41 million. How will he survive?
Hey.
All right, Mike, you got some super chats?
Yeah, we just got a reminder one last time that tomorrow's Guardians-Tigers game is on WKYC. You can watch on WKYC the pregame coverage and the actual game, which begins at 7 o'clock. We are not having a full UCSS show tomorrow. It is the 4th of July. Enjoy your holiday. However, we did tape a 25-minute behind the glass this morning that is going to air tomorrow at 11 a.m., so there will be some new content.
Yeah.
There's Earl, myself, and Anthony a little behind
I'm
the
not
glass.
happy about behind the glass right now.
What do you say?
I'm not happy about the behind the glass show.
Why?
Why not?
Because I think you guys should be talking about UCSS on that show.
We talked about how Anthony almost blew his hand off as a kid.
That's appropriate.
We called him APP, Anthony Pierre-Paul.
But behind the glass is their chance to get their thoughts off.
First of all, Mike doesn't
I
even
give
get
my
his thoughts
all
off.
the time.
He gets his thoughts off all the
he
time.
does. But the other guys don't.
I just think it would be an interesting thing that nobody else
Earl was on the
does.
panel.
Earl's on the panel, what, once a
We
week?
can start adding in some behind-the-scenes
Everybody
drama at
does.
UCSS.
Everybody makes their opinions on sports. We already know you guys' opinions on sports.
We can start.
But I
talking
think
you
it would be
behind your back
interesting
on-
if you talked like behind the scenes of the show. I think people would find that interesting.
I feel like we've actually opened the curtain so much.
Yeah,
that
maybe you're right.
I'm not sure there's a whole lot behind the scenes stuff that people don't know about because, like we just mentioned, we had a topic that I was like, yeah, we'll just save for next week, as opposed
Or
to.
you could do like analyze the shows for the week. Like, oh, Bull was awful in this opinion.
Oh, that would be that
Tyvis
actually.
was,
I like that. I like
was
that.
lost
idea.
in the soup. You know, blah blah blah.
I like that idea. Speaking of being
Yeah.
lost in the soup, G. Bush's most recent tweet.
Yeah.
He said Shedeur's looking crispy, based off a workout video in Miami where he's throwing on air. So, Tyvis, is it fair to look?
Wait a
crispy?
minute here. He did what now?
Go look at G's last tweet. I'll read our one super chat. DB Dog 21 says, if Shedeur plays great in the preseason, will the Browns be hesitant because of what happened with DTR? Can he play well enough to at least move into the backup quarterback spot?
Yeah, why not? I don't think he has. What happened with DTR has anything to do
Dorian has no impact on anything that happens this year.
Yes, it's irrelevant. Why couldn't he be the backup? I mean, if he plays that well in the preseason, I guess it's certainly.
I mean,
possible.
I don't think he's opening. Well, I don't know. Let's. I was gonna say I don't think he's going to open the year as the backup. And
Well,
he can work
not
into
likely, but the guy's asking if he's great. Is it possible? So I'm like, yeah, sure.
Sure.
Because they're not. They can say they're going to keep 4 quarterbacks all they want. I don't believe that.
I do.
You do?
I do.
All right. Remember I said it. Either Flacco or Pickett will be gone.
Because they're not trying to win. So what's the matter?
Why would you keep 4? What's the point?
But why not?
To answer
you really need that 5th edge rusher or
more opportunities for
tackle.
Like, why do I need to keep
more? Probably take it out.
Because
they can take it out of
I
the safeties.
just don't understand.
3 safeties.
I
6 corners, 3 safeties.
Why would you
2 and 2?
I know Dustin has said practice squad. I don't think they can get either of these young guys to the practice squad.
No,
I don't think that they can.
We say that every year.
Those guys could choose to not sign somewhere else in theory.
But why would you?
Why
do
would you
that?
do that if you're them?
I don't know. Probably not.
Now,
Tyvis, did you see G's tweet?
Yes.
What? Is that fair?
Oh, what?
Sure.
I didn't look.
He looks
What?
good in drills.
I think I saw. Is it Shedeur with the orange helmet on?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw that clip.
How am I supposed to have seen it?
Oh, it came out yesterday.
Yes.
Well, G's tweet just. I'm just
looks
curious.
good
Can you say
throwing the-
someone looks crispy in workout drills like that?
Everybody.
G is
First of all, anybody that's doing a production meeting or a production video like that, they better look good.
G
That's
is
first of all.
is in the. He's
Second of all, it doesn't matter.
president of the
until they
Shedeur
come
Cleveland
back.
Shedeur fan club. The ship has sailed. I mean, it is what it is.
We all want him to do well. I hope he does. I hope how he looks in this video is exactly how he looks in joint practice.
How he looks in the video,
it'll give me
by
more
himself.
ammunition to keep saying that man needs to be playing. So I hope that it translates.
What are we just saying? Oh, 4 quarterbacks. Yeah, I don't know. Give opportunities. Kenny Pickett is such a stiff. Why we have this guy here? I have no idea. But the Browns don't
wait till he's under center week 1. I can't wait to hear what Bolt says.
Oh my God,
he gonna end up winning the game.
I told G and Bull last thing before we go to overtime. I told G and Bull my dream from a content standpoint from the Browns quarterback situation.
I don't think you want to share that.
I'm not going to share. I'll show you guys offline. But my dream content scenario includes playing all four starting at different times. And it would lead to some very fun discussions. We're going to see you in overtime. Reminder, no full UCSS tomorrow, but we will have a Behind the Glass and a 216. So at least an hour of new content coming at you tomorrow. Have a good 4th. Peace.